Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, Paranormal Portal Podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together. Very nice, very nice. It looks like we are 5x5 here on YouTube, and also for our first night going live on Rumble. So welcome, welcome, welcome in both chats. We also have people in here from our Facebook channel, so everybody is welcome. So glad to have you. So lovely to see all these wonderful names. I have missed you. We missed last week. I'm telling you guys, never underestimate the power of nature. Do not mess with spiders. This has been since 2008. Just when I forgot I was bitten by brown recluse spiders, they come back every anniversary with a new surprise. And boy, this one knocked me for a loop for about 3 days. And it's something else. It's hard to describe, but thank you for the well wishes. I am good. And just getting up there, I'll tell you, it's harder to get out of the bed, and it's harder. It's okay to get down on the floor, at the grocery store, if that lower level, when you're going for the cans, and you can get down there, but you can't get up. And there's two kinds of people. Somebody, some are just going to stay there and cry and be angry they can't get up. I'm the other kind that falls flat on my butt and just lays there and laughs so hard. By the time the clerk is helping me up, we're both laughing. So that's how you have to go at life. And I hope that that's how you're enjoying your day today. And however your week was, I'll tell you what, it just got better because I have got two of the most wonderful guests tonight. I absolutely love these ladies, their energy, their journeys in their lives, as you get to know them and you go on their channels and you listen to Michelle's wonderful her heartfelt readings that she gets from spirit, and they're always just spot on. And if you don't think they're spot on, give it a couple days, because guess what, it's going to be spot on. And Stephanie, and it's just the first time I ever heard Stephanie, and look, I'm going to cry, because listen, we're going to tap into all this energy. Is going to just flow as soon as I hit this button, and we're like mirrors. We bounce off of each other. We're bouncing off a chat. All of this love light's coming in, and we all know we're here for a similar reason, and if you don't know it yet, give it a few minutes, because you're going to figure it out. Your spirit guides got you here because you're at the level that you can understand what we are going to talk about tonight. You've probably moved through this quickening, awakening, raising consciousness, higher vibration. You're ready for the next level of understanding. Not everything. Look, I'm serious, real tears. Look, who'd have thunk it? But in this is the whole reason I started this channel. It's the whole reason I wrote the book. Because yes, the paranormal can be extremely dark. It can be so dark, the darkness eats the darkness. But people forget how much light. And this is what is coming forward now. People are coming in, they're finding their tribe, they're coming into groups, they're finding the light. Spirit guides are working through our animals, through total strangers, through happenstance and coincidence and serendipity. And they're finding a way back to helping souls save other souls. And that's what it's all about, to ease a soul. We're not saving anything. We're guiding. And when you've been in the paranormal as long as I have, and however you want to see that. 50 years. What does it go back to? The first ghost I ever saw, the first conversation I ever had with a ghost, first one I can remember. How far back? What life? What lifetime? You see what I mean? It gets silly when you start trying to put labels. I'm telling you, for 50 years, I've been looking into this and I'm still learning. But I know for a fact that we're all coming together at this time for one purpose, and that's to help each other, to guide each other, and that is both the living and the dead. And if you think it's only the living guiding the dead, you are so wrong. You are so wrong, because they are here to give us messages as well. Our spirit guides are speaking a little louder. We're paying a little bit more attention to those finite things, those simple things in life that mean so, so much. And we're smiling a little deeper because we have a knowing that, like Joan of Arc said, I'm not afraid. I was born for this. Light workers, you were born for this. These ladies were born for this. And they have a wonderful story in their journey. And they have been on a wonderful one here recently that I think is going to blow your socks off. Because this is why I got into this. Let's put it this way. I didn't have a choice. It got into me. But this is what I shoot for. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Get Spooky Society and Michelle's wonderful channel, please welcome Michelle and Stephanie. Come on in, ladies. Hello?
Hello.
Real tears. You've already messed up my makeup.
Dang it.
My goodness. Oh, gosh. It's so wonderful to have you, Stephanie. Everybody, Michelle, look at you, your lovely face. We can't stop smiling. We're Capricorns. We're like mirrors that you put in hallway facing each other. We just keep bouncing off each other like this. So wonderful. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to shut up. Please give us a little bio because, listen, I could read the bios. We could go over all the videos and all the things we've done. Please just give us a little bit about your journey, Stephanie, how you got here and what you're seeing now. And hasn't it changed? It's just got as bright as that beautiful tree behind you. And thanks for coming on. Please tell us.
Okay, so thank you for the warm welcome. So yeah, I am Get Spooky Society. I am a psychic medium. I said it, Michelle. I said it. I'm a psychic medium. And high five. I have been a witch my whole life.
Yeah, baby.
And I accept it, and I've never not accepted it. I just didn't realize where my gifts would take me eventually. And yeah, it's been great. And some of the stuff that Michelle and I have gotten to do together and solo has been amazing, but it's all coming together because remember, so I do astrology as well, immunology. Remember the 19th of November for my Capricorn women and men, that Pluto left your sign finally, and it's in Aquarius now. So
wow.
We can, I don't know about you, but I know exactly what I was doing in 2008 and I know exactly what's been happening since. And I am never going back to that shit. And we are going forward.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm an Aquarius rising and it's Pluto's now in Aquarius and it is just transforming my vision. I'm excited.
It's been, and you said 2008. So funny because that's just a validation for me coming from Spirit Guide because I was just talking about 2008. That's when I got bit by spiders. 5 brown recluse one night. They sent them after me to take my knees out from under me. Didn't work. But that nature stuff, boy,
Yeah,
the journey.
I got bit in the back of my knee too, and I know it comes back.
You know what sends it. You know what's going on. It's something we have to endure, right, sweetheart? Michelle, please, right. The same. And please, a little bit about your journey, how you got here, and
yeah, sure. I say the age 3 because that's as far back as I could remember. So I began my journey with psychic mediumship at the age of 3. Grew up in a very very religious belief system. So I didn't have a psychic mentor. So I had to learn everything on my own over many years. I will soon be 53, so I had to learn it basically by myself. Um, then in 2015, of course, I was a nurse. I'm still a retired nurse. Still have my license, and a state registered nursing assistant teacher. Um, so I was in a very rare accident, and at that time, that's when I became retired. So I can no longer lift and tug and all those things anymore, which is okay because what happened was it brought me into where I am now, the whole process. So I'm not sad about the accident. Yeah, it was horrible.
It's the
Yeah,
journey. It's
right.
it's the doggone journey.
It
You
was,
know,
yes,
it's
absolutely.
incredible. We get to this and we're smiling, and it makes everybody so crazy because we get it. We were doing this, a year ago when I think the first time we met. I'm just running through. I think I said something. I can't remember what it was. Talking to my guides, I always do. It's like, gosh, I need to find. I think I was looking for something for the holidays. It was around this time. Oh,
Yep.
something with light.
Yeah.
Something with
Yeah.
some hope and some, because everybody's struggling. This is dragging through these times. It's like been going through the mud, and the muck and the mire. And first thing comes up, and then you guys were doing the readings and for pets.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Mr. Dickens comes through, and he's just, he clicked into Stephanie Michelle like nobody's business. He was just rolling it off. Listen, you got to tell her that I wish she's got to speak her mind and speak her, and tell what's going on. And he was talking all about the way I had a cat that the first thing coming out of his mouth wasn't, thanks for, whatever, or, I'm sorry you're sad and miss me. Oh, no. The world, you got to tell the world, the Great Awakening, Mom. It's
Yeah.
I'm laughing because Stephanie's like, I can read her face, and it's like, she's thinking, my gosh, she's going to think I'm nuts if I said no. I trust him. What is he saying, Stephanie? And we just rolled with it after that. Once you open those lines and you get it and you connect in, we try to tell people that all the time. It's like, gosh, if you just stop fighting it, stop wrestling with it and realize, we've got to do this. I had an elder one time tell me at a powwow that around the fire after everybody goes to bed when all magic happens, everybody really talks and we listen, to the elders. They were saying about, if you're going to be a healer, the best thing to do is break your leg. Who's better to heal a leg than someone who has had a broken leg? So
Yes.
think about it like that. Our journey, the rough journey, I took the road less traveled by, whatever. And it's made all the difference. It has, because look at us. And to come through, what was drawing so much emotion out of me is that I'm so glad to finally see this point, because I felt like the stand a long time ago where everybody was kind of drawing, not even knowing, that they were doing it. The light was drawing to the light, the dark to the, that separation. And when the spirit started kicking in and I started seeing all of these, earthbounds getting saved. So like this, some of it's a struggle. Some of them you have to talk to. Some of them are still making up their minds, but it's not always this battle, this fight with, some horrible thing. A lot of times that's there. But when you have people that are coming together and it's like, look, you stay right there. We're going to deal with you in a little bit. We're going to take care of this. Like you guys did with with the little girl who was the strongest emotion that was able to come forward and pretty much save the whole house, tell the story. So before we get into this remarkable story, because I watched all the videos and I'm yelling at the screen and I'm going, I'm getting the same thing, because we're connected. And my gosh, the way that ended is one of the most perfect, stories. And it's, and this happens all the time, Stephanie, and people, they just don't get it, that we go out and we do these things and we don't plan it that way. We just wind up with the right people, the right time. The spirit guides get us all together. Our people get with whatever, and they set it up and bam, we're in the right place, right time, right when they're ready to listen. So, what drew you guys I think the big thing is, to put it down for the young people that are coming through with abilities before we get into our stories at the end of our journeys, was how do you navigate? You can't miss all the darkness, like we just said. You can't not bump into the tree, psychically, or abilities or whatever. Try things that don't work and back up. It's okay to try things and back up, but what advice would you give some young person with abilities that's trying to find that way? Is, we realize they got to go stumble through and find their own, but is there any keys you could give them that might open a couple of doors a little easier? You think you got that one, Michelle? You want to start with that one, and then we'll go to Steph?
Sure.
Please
sure.
do.
So the first thing that I would like to say is, I've seen stuff all over the internet, like how to open your third eye, all this, and like close your eyes, take your eyes and stare here, and all this. Guys, don't hurt yourself. You don't have to do all that stuff. First of all, I just want to explain this. So we have, everybody I'm sure has heard and knows of the baby's soft spot, right? That's called a fontanelle. Now, that is actually open. We're born with it open, right? The soft spot. Now, it takes approximately 5 to 7 years for it to completely fuse back together. We are born open. We are literally born with a direct connection to our creator, the entire universe, all of consciousness. Okay. But what happens is, it is scientifically and medically proven that by the age of 5 to 7 years old, basically we have learned all our morals. We have learned basically everything that we're going to learn as far as the person we're going to grow into for the rest of our lives. So that being said, when parents come to us and say, well, honey, that's just an imaginary friend. Okay. Well, honey, we don't have the money. Well, honey, you see what I'm saying? What happens is during that time, that's our most important time of our lives, as far as learning, people teaching us who we're going to grow into. Okay. Our belief systems. Okay. So by the time that we grow together here, if we're growing together, our fontanelle has fused together, closing off that access, and we don't have a mentor like I didn't have, then all we know is, oh, that's demonic. Everything's demonic, or everything's angelic. There's no in between. There's no other realms. There's no nothing, right? But see, I had a very hard realization as a child when I had people coming to me trying to decipher. I mean, it was tormenting, because now I understand that people were coming to me. They were showing up blue because it was loss of oxygen. They were showing me how they passed away. I saw some very horrific things, but it was only because they were coming to me for help. They could see my light. And that's the thing. We are like a light. All realms can see our light. Okay. Positive and negative. Doesn't matter. But here's the main thing. If you are wanting and ready to begin opening yourself up, I'm going to tell you exactly. This is, I say this, and you can change it however you like. Okay. But whenever I go into meditation to, let's say, get information for anything, for a missing person, doesn't matter, for a reading, like a personal reading, then what I do is I say this. I'll close my eyes and I say, Holy Spirit, holy angels, holy guides, all who are with me in the highest divine realms of love and truth, I now open my 6th and 7th chakras into the highest frequency of Christ consciousness and the Akashic records. And then I say, for humanity's highest good, for a certain person's highest good. If I'm doing missing persons cases, then I'll say for that person's name. Usually all I have is a first name, because here's the thing, guys. you can ask Stephanie. I don't want to know, just like the investigation we went to, I didn't even know what state we were going to. And I do that on purpose for two reasons. One, so that I don't get information and add stuff in from my own brain. But two, people know it's not coming from me. Okay, it's coming from something greater. So
it's a filter. For anybody who needs another word to understand, this is what I mean by I say we have our filters up. Everybody's are different, but it seems to you can use them. Your spirit guides have them, you have trusted filters. So when people say, well, how do you know? That's how we know. That's how we know. And I agree with everything you said. Stephanie, do you want to add to that? This is so important for young people because it's a difficult thing to give advice on, if that's what you want to call what we're doing right now, because they have to go down their road. They have to skin the knee. They have to make the choices and learn the lessons. But if there's, a certain key or at least something they can take with them that once they get there, maybe they'll recognize it for what it is. What would you?
I think that, first of all, I've had a lot of people come to me lately asking, what do I do? My little girl or my little boy are expressing that they see and hear things. Dale and I are taking a 10-year-old on an investigation with us because she's very interested in it. And it's her Christmas present from her aunt. And I was really nervous about it because I wasn't sure that I wanted to. What's so funny?
No, that's beautiful.
Oh,
it's just like taking my heart. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I was really nervous.
We're such a mess when we get together and we just don't even care. We're just so happy.
I know.
This is wonderful. Go ahead.
Yeah. So she's only 10 and I was nervous. And, unfortunately, and I don't mean to be mean, but a lot of people that call us are not all there. Like a lot of crazy people call us. And so I had to vet her out first, the aunt out first, and find out, okay, who knows? Well, luckily I found out she's a social worker. She has a criminal justice degree. She's the real deal. Her family's very big in the community where we're going. It's a place I've wanted to go back. It's not, and my channel, we don't scare people. It's not our job, or it's not what we do. That's not our thing to scare people. So what I would say is I'm excited about doing this because the first thing I always say to any parent or relative is do not make them feel like it's weird, it's bad. Ask them very adult, nice questions like, oh, what did they say? What do you see? Never give them the impression that it's wrong, because that is the worst thing you can do, is make them feel like I was very lucky that my mom has
so important.
Yep. Yeah, I was very lucky that my mom has abilities. And so she never, ever treated me, but I didn't learn until way further in life. So I guess the other thing that I would like to say is I'm really excited. My dog changed the light colors. I'm really excited that I am being able to talk to people at a younger age. Like I'm mentoring a 35-year-old right now. I didn't really learn what I've like the abilities to the extent I have until I was like 50. And I told this young lady, I said, you were so lucky that you're getting this information much earlier in life than I did.
It's so exciting because here's the thing with everything that's been going on, we say since 2008, and I can honestly look back and say that's exactly when it started for me, the real struggle, the fight. I'm at a powwow and I'm watching it hit other people, and I'm watching other, any mix of Native American, we've got Creek and Cherokee and Lenape and, you name it. They're all together in this. So it had nothing to do with, that specific tribal culture. It was an understanding amongst all of them that they send nature after you in a lot of ways, especially when they're trying to fight, so the darkness saw the fight coming. Mm-hmm. You want to take out and break as many light workers as you can. That's the simplest way I can put it. You want to take their knees out. You want to take the fight out of them. You want to take out the it's like, man, I don't want to be in this. this struggle. Well, good light workers look back and go through their journey like Michelle and Stephanie just did. And we realized that we've been training for this, like Joan of Arc, all our lives, and probably more than one lifetime. And our spirit guides have been working with us. And I guarantee if I ask them or ask you guys, so many light workers in this chat right now, and I love you all, and hello to each and every one of you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being on Rumble. Listen, I got a big mouth, and when everything started and I started really telling the truth here, there's a certain place that we're out live right now that doesn't like that too much, so we got totally demonetized. So I'm saying, look, it's not about the money. What it's about is getting the word out. So just in case, I'm opening up over on Rumble. We're keeping that going too, and I'm moving a lot of my stuff over there so we can keep all these great episodes that we've done and all this information, because this whole channel is packed with information. If you want to learn about ghosts, hey, this is it, So, because we don't BS you, I'm not trying to clickbait you, I'm not saying, there's a demon in my attic. No, I'm telling you, we live in a haunted house and we're trying to sort what's in the attic. It turned out to be Uncle George, but that's the main, that's more of the stories, how they go, or it's, Marianne, who's 16 and doesn't realize she has abilities. And she's putting out this, this PK and this, she's the one that's making the pots and pans fly around the kitchen or the cabinet doors banging, has no idea. And it takes calm minds to sort these things and not walk in and think every time something happens, it's this, or this for clicks. These ladies aren't doing this for the TV show. They're not doing it to make millions and millions of dollars on YouTube. No. They're not doing it to sell the books and do it's just none of those things ever make up for the time that we put into we don't do it for this. We do it so the 13-year-old girl, the 12-year-old girl, the 16-year-old boy, whatever, who has abilities won't, go for the Ouija board under the bed because the thing in the closet won't leave them alone. And they're trying to figure it out and they have nobody to go to, Right. And also to keep in mind that, yes, this is the yin and yang, dark and light. It's a spiritual warfare, plain and simple. Whatever name you want to put on it, it's good versus dark versus light, period. And we know what wins that every time. We go without fear. We walk in and go, all right, what's going on? And that's why I love to watch these ladies work. And I love the fact that you got together. Do you want to tell the story now, or do you want to talk about a couple of other things that you've worked on? But I want to save the story, and I don't want to tell any more than you guys want to tell, because I don't want to ruin the way you've got your video set up for this. You know what I'm talking.
Yeah,
right?
the last episode was published.
It's beautiful.
So we're good.
It's got everything. But it's again, this is like my story in the book. Look, when I tell the story of Gettysburg and how I walked on the battlefield and I'm going, okay, let's go. Who wants to go? Who's ready to listen? Let me talk to the, highest ranking soldier. I'm a soldier. They can look at you. Maybe we can explain a little bit about what we've learned about ghosts and what they know about us before we ever get there. Mm-hmm. This is so hard to explain to people that, look, if you really are going up against something that's rough, and, that doesn't necessarily have to mean an entity that was never human, which does exist. We can all attest to that. Okay. But some of these human ghosts are pretty damn nasty too. And they're pretty doggone powerful. They've learned tricks. Right. And if you agree, on a phone call that you're going to come and help this household and this entity, this earthbound spirit, hears you, knows it, is paying attention, they know you're coming before you do.
Yes.
So they're going to try to stop you. They're going to try to change your mind. Some of you want to get some dark stories on that, talk to Amy Allen, because they will torture her for days before she shows up. She goes up against some heavy stuff, Oh
my gosh. I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
She's amazing. She's amazing. She's a real deal. They've put her in the hospital. Just because she's so, she's a trance medium, and it goes to, we're talking about Amy Allen, how sick this can make you. People don't realize they put us down. They call us kooks. They say we're crazy. Fine. Move along. Move along.
Right.
Because, and we smile and we laugh because here's the thing. We understand that your consciousness has not reached a level to which you need to understand this now. You might need it later because more often than not, those people that told me they didn't believe are the ones that call at 1-2 o'clock in the morning and go, hey, we were on such and such a bridge and we challenged this thing and now my kids are floating around the living room. Do you know anybody that can help? And I'm like, oh, you believe now? You know?
Right. Right.
But
Right.
go ahead, tell a couple a little bit about some of the things that that whatever comes to your mind in this conversation of moving towards this. Yes, we know that the darkness exists, and yes, we go in there and we deal with that and hold it back. But man, when you can get in there and you're talking to another human being that is lost in their spirit and just want to tell their story or just want to, be heard for a moment and just get clicked back into that love light. And once they click back in that love light, everything seems to start falling away, doesn't it? And they start to open up, like you were saying, Michelle, with your third eye. So you guys go ahead and whatever comes to mind, please take the floor.
I did want to say something really quick. I think
Sure.
it was Sarah that said she doesn't think she'd let the 10-year-old go. I did struggle with it, Sarah. However, I've been to this location. It's not a scary location. I know what is there already. I will have the parents there, and I will also have them sign release forms. We're going to plan on not really filming the young girl very much. I'll just see what happens when we get there. But I also am the one that protects everybody on the team. And if I feel like for some reason something else comes in and she needs to leave, I will have them take her out. So I'm going to be very smart about it. But I don't want her to feel like it's a bad thing that she's interested.
100%. I agree 100%. And here's the thing. You have to understand that it's also not a group that goes at things. They know what they're doing.
Right.
And that's just, it sounds like a real short way of explaining what that actually entails. So these are people that understand that you're preparing for this before you ever get there. That's one.
Right.
And you understand that you're going with your guides, and you understand too that if you're supposed to be going there and if there's a rescue involved, which in a lot of cases that it is, you're getting help and you've got your filters and they are on.
Right.
Okay. So they also understand how to protect another one, and they're going to know not to walk that child into a situation like you wouldn't take a 10-year-old into, I don't even want to go into Penhurst Asylum or some old hospital or some old jail or something like that. Those are the ones that I would be concerned about because there's so much negative energy ricocheting off of those walls. And here's these kids just sitting there absorbing.
Right.
But here's also the deal. Those kids, unless for some reason their windshield is cracked, that's what I call it, their protective shield, in some ways cracked with infirmities or abuse or something along those lines, those kids have the most light. So all they need is a little protection out of hands off. Right. And what Stephanie's doing is teaching them to walk into it with wonderment and learning and picking up tools to put in their toolbox that they're going to be building over life if they're interested in this.
Right.
You see what I mean? And that is a powerfully, that's a wonderful thing. The right hands. In the wrong hands, I would agree. Yeah. But these are the right hands. Go ahead.
Right. Go ahead, Michelle. What do you got?
Well, first of all, going back to where earlier you were wanting us to talk about how we connect beforehand, some things that we have encountered. So one thing that definitely sticks out to me is prior to going to investigations, everybody's abilities work a little differently, which is awesome. Okay. And so it's like mine work before we go. So it's like 3 days prior to any investigation, if it's not an emergency. Okay. And I have 3 days. I will go into meditation on and off, and I will literally go in just like I showed you. Okay. And it's simple. I don't do a bunch of woo-woo stuff. It's just simple. Spirit, Holy Divine, please show me the entities that are at this place. You know where it is. I don't have the address. You know exactly where I'm going. Take me there. That's all I do. Promise you. Okay. And then I trust, and spirit takes me there. Okay. Now, I meet, and I will be shown different spirits that are there. Okay. Or I will hear them, or both. Okay. And I just draw things out, everything that comes through. And so this one investigation that I did, and it works the same for missing persons as well. Okay. It's all the same. It's all consciousness. Every bit, it's all the same. Just state what you want. So there was one entity that came through to me at a different investigation, and it was trying to act really bad and mean and appear as if it was demonic. And it said, it showed a huge billboard, like you would see at Hollywood or something. And on the billboard, it said, "Come get me," daring me to come get it. Okay. They do know we're coming. They do know when we're on our way. Never be mistaken. They know. And so then when the night before Stephanie and I did the investigation together, I stayed at her house, and I was attacked, wasn't I, Stephanie?
Yep.
By an entity that was what we figured out that was at this person's home. So again, and I screamed for Stephanie. It was trying to attack me. Okay. So they know, they are aware. They may not be in a physical body like we have, but here it's all that they know. There's no hiding it. So I'm going to give it over to Stephanie.
Right. I wanted to touch on something that you said earlier, Michelle, about being light. So I also do what I call Get Sparked gatherings at people's homes. And it's like a Pampered Chef, only way cooler. So I always do readings. I do mini readings, and then we do meet your spirit guide, or crystals and crystal grids, or meditation, or about the moon, and all that stuff. And so I just did one a few weeks ago, and I'd never met these 5 ladies before, and their readings were amazing. Everybody cried. And I validated every one of them. And then I took them through a meditation to meet a spirit guide. I did not preface this with anything. So I did not tell them it could be an animal. I didn't tell it could just be light. I didn't tell them anything. And it was so rewarding afterwards when I asked if they wanted to share, and they all were friends. So they shared. And someone was like, all I saw was a bright yellow light, and it sat down, and it was just so rewarding that I said, honey, that means you were like meeting a guide way up higher than
way up there.
Yeah, because it was just pure light.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Oh gosh.
Experiences where I've got chills just thinking about it.
Right. And see, that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about, chat, and please listen. I know a lot of you are new over here on Rumble. Please hit the thumbs up and the like, because we're doing great over here. I can't believe in my age I sat here and poked buttons until I got that to work. How in the world? It had to be spirit guides. So, I mean, because, I'm telling you what, me and buttons. But yes, see, this is my major thing. People ask, oh, you're into paranormal, you're into this. I heard a guy say not too long ago, and it wasn't even a channel that would be talking about supernatural or paranormal. They were talking about negativity in the world, and they were talking about groups of people that seem to constantly want to be negative, like even the weather. Like using that kind of, oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, this is going to be bad. It's going to change everything. Here it comes. It's like that fear. And we've watched it over the decades, if it bleeds, it leads in the news, or if you want to get depressed, watch news, and, we could talk all night about how a lot of that is programmed, and it's at, with the fear frequency and everything else. So listen, the dark side is using all the tools. And I talked about the 10-year-old boy, when I see a young kid like that, I think about it, because with my sons, I did the same thing. It's like, I'm giving you a toolbox, and here's a couple of my old rusty tools. You've got them if you need them, but you should get some of your own, learn how to use them. You know what I mean? And as they learn, they're really putting these tools in the box. And, by the time, you don't just have them in the box, you need to know how to use them. So when people like us go into these things, it's like we have these trusted tools. We've honed it down to where we don't need all of the tools in the box all the time. We have a couple of trusted ones and are very sharp. We've sharpened them and honed them over time. They've got nicks and dings and scratches, but we know that they work. They're trusted for us. So when we say we go in and we do a protective prayer, we do a prayer circle, if whoever I'm with, everybody gets to put their faith base in, everybody gets to put their words. If somebody wants to add something, so mote it be, if the after an amen, come on, take it all. I'm also military, army. I'm a soldier. I'm like, what weapons do you want to take? All of them. Would you leave any behind if I get to choose, because I don't know what I'm going to need. And I don't know. Here's the kicker. It's not all about you. What are you fighting? What are you up against? Who are you trying to help? What do they believe? What are they afraid of? What weakens them? What strengthens this one? It's a constant balance, and we can't carry all that. All we can do is go in with, we're walking in our light, in our strength, in our knowledge, and in our tools, our weapons, our filters, and things that have worked for us that we know work for us because we remember when they didn't, or we used them wrong, or we forgot to bring them, or we got cocky, or we brought ego into it, because it's not about us. It's just we're vessels full of, at this point, hard-earned light and a little bit of knowledge and a lot of questions still, but we're walking with that kind of intent of, we're here to help. We're not here to get the evidence and so we can go to the Paracon and go, we got the best. We'll show you. We'll talk about it and go, look, I got a shadow guy, but that's not the best thing. We crossed three earthbound spirits this night. That's the most important part. That's why we were there, but this sucker here that was living in the basement behind the water boil, we sent him on because it can't be here. We couldn't kill it because it was here before us, but it can't stay here. We had to bartend Roadhouse that son of a gun. You don't have to, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And we put a block around the home, and we helped the homeowner, a business owner, gave them tools to work with, because it's a maintenance. It's a maintenance. But, all of those things together. And go ahead.
You touched on something that to me is so, so very important, because usually now I don't do a lot of private residences. Again, I get phone calls and, all the time asking for us to go remove a spirit, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. In my opinion, and you just kind of said it, they have every right to be here more than us. And first, we have to figure out, who are they? What are they? Why are they here? What do they need? How can we help them? We have to exhaust all of those things before we make the decision to try to force them to leave, because they were here before us. So who are we to say, get out? So that's my feeling, is we have to go in there, and sometimes you're not going to get the answer. And so you just, but the other thing is also, you have to take into consideration, a lot of these people that call, their demon, we'll talk about it in a minute, vampire, whatever it is their story. You get rid of it, they have no story. It's never going to leave, because that's their story.
And they're bringing it back. Harry. It's the Harry story. Harry's story is really quick. A case that I was kind of sort of involved in. I got the people together. And sometimes that's all we are, is a chain and a link in the chain, because we just know who can help for what situation. It gets to the point where when you hear the case, before you're done hearing about the case, you already know who's going. It's just one of those things. So this lady, Harry sits at the coffee table. This is a ghost that had stayed there. It was an apartment. Apartment buildings, we can tell you, because they're in and out. You got so many energies and so many issues and so many emotions, and human, dead, alive. It's crazy. And it's constantly changing. So Harry was always sitting at the kitchen table. That's I don't even know what the guy's real name was. He just became Harry because that's what she called him. Also a detriment to a human life because that's Joe. Well, what if it isn't Joe? You better know it's Joe if you're calling him Joe. That's a pet peeve of mine. So anyway, because it's insulting. Do you see what I'm saying? It really is. And it further, if they have some kind of, you don't know what kind of anxiety or what state of mind they're in their cage, whatever they're going through. And now all of a sudden somebody's calling them Susan, and they might be coming in and out of whatever we would consider consciousness, if you know what I mean. We don't know what they're seeing, how they're seeing things. They could be knocking around for years thinking they're in the same barn, like Yanni at the Toys R Us thought he was in the farm and he's at a Toys R Us. And people are telling me that Yanni, if you don't know the story, it's a Toys R Us ghost, but Yanni knows where he is because he's playing with the toys. No, Yanni has a really anxiety, a lot of angry energy, and the energy is making the toys go. You see what I'm saying? It's like people just have all these answers to questions. They don't even know what the questions are, but Harry would sit at the kitchen table and she knew it was him. The chair would move. She'd smell the smoke and all this. And she got to talking to him. Well, she got some good people to come in, worked with Harry, who had forgotten his name by that point, was such a mess. It was more like therapy than anything else. And it really is, if you are getting in communication with an earthbound spirit. And they finally got him to cross. He had forgotten he wanted to cross. He just got caught up in a loop kind of thing. And they finally got him to cross and he was happy to go. And within 2 weeks, she called him back. He's back because she couldn't let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ted. That was exactly what I wanted to say. Ted was answering a question to Lynn.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, Ted was? What you got, Ted? Let me see if I can find it.
Lynn asked about fae who have inhabited a space, but it's not a ghost and religious things don't work. What do you do with them? And Ted said you just live with them and you just ignore them. You don't.
Yeah, you do. In some cases, because elementals and stuff, they were here before us. Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I would also like to say now, if and when you can learn to meet them like I do, you can actually go into consciousness and actually meet them. See, because when I go into consciousness, it's all dimensions. There is nothing that is withheld. Okay. Now, and there's also, I need to say this too. There's consciousness, but within consciousness, there's Christ consciousness, where that's where I stay most of the time when I do readings and things like that. The only time I actually go into consciousness where I am available to all realms is for instances of clearinghouses or something like that. Okay. Where there's a need to communicate with anything lower dimensional. Okay. Just so that I can know what we're dealing with. So back to this question of the fae. Yes, in those instances, I speak it, do the same process, speak it, go into consciousness and see if that entity will meet with me. Okay. And when they meet, it's not like we meet. Okay. Sometimes they'll show themselves. Sometimes they'll tell me things that they need me to know, or both. Okay. But either way, it's either going to be something nasty that we may have to work out. I may have to set boundaries. Okay. Because we need to set boundaries. I may need to set boundaries, and then I may need to think about those boundaries a while, a few days even, write them out, and then have kind of like a meeting, a house meeting or something like that as well. But I feel like the main thing here is, it's like, if we as a society can begin realizing that everything is energy and that we are surrounded at all times by so many different dimensions and realms, that that's a big start right there. and to realize that we all have the ability to tap in.
And we all deserve to be here.
Yes.
That's the big thing. We all deserve to be here. And yeah, so the other thing I think we have to remember, and one of the things that we struggle to get people to understand is each one of us has the ability to create entities and get rid of entities, and it's all right here, and it's all here, and it's how you react. Is how they're going to react back. So for me, I don't do demons. I don't believe there's that many out there. I don't do negative energy. I get pissed off and I just tell them how it is. And that's the way it is. I don't ever allow them to affect me. I don't allow them to have any control over me whatsoever. It's all in what you allow.
And it's also your vibration. And you guys have figured that one out a while ago, you know, through like, you know, your tools that are sharpened. And that's the thing, you know, because again, you can say you're walking in the light, you're walking in a knowing, you're walking in knowing, understanding your own power, where your connection to source comes from, the light from within you, the energy manipulation, which is again, manipulation is a rough word, but that's really what it comes down to. So whether you're doing hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, you know, green witch, white witch, black magic, you name it, magic, you know, all of this stuff, everything is manipulation of energy. But if you understand the energy that you're being manipulated with through, like we said earlier, the news, the fear frequencies, and everything else, you can understand how dark entities work. It's fear. And when they create you to fear, they're getting energy, which is called a loosh, and that they're feeding on that. And it's the same reason why we have to get groups to go together, like these ladies to go together. Like the three of us with a couple of other people could go into, say, a haunted orphanage and hold off the dark entities that are keeping those kids there, get the kids free, and then settle with the others. Or we'd have spirits from the other side come and take care of them while we took care of the kids. You know, you have to understand what you're dealing with, because again, and I'm sure you guys agree, you were saying it earlier about how they can appear in different people in the room different ways.
Right.
So what are you dealing with? You have to use your inner filters to sort this. I always look at it like, it sounds so strange, but I think I thought of it when I was working at AC Moore and I was stocking yarn. And all the yarn is in, you know, all these kids that come in to stock boys and stuff go, oh, the yarn box, you know, you guys have to sort it in the morning. We can't deal with it. So you've got all these different yarns. And I'm thinking, this is like going into a haunted house, because you've got all these yarns intertwined, and, you know, they don't even realize some of them are tangled together. Like you'll have a person in the kitchen, and there's, you know, maybe two or three in the basement. They don't even know each other's exist, or they might. You know, so what do you think about that? That's crazy, but it's so true, is it not? And people just assume, well, they all know this. Well, you know, sometimes, and it's usually the kid ghosts that have it all together. Oh, he lives in the basement. He hides behind the water cooler. He only comes out when such and such, but he doesn't like the one that's in the attic, and she stays up there, and all she does is cry. And I'm here, and I'm just waiting for my mom to pick me up. But then again, it takes that. There's always this little hard left that the kids take, where they've got it all together about everybody else, but they're confused. Like, but I'm just here looking for my mother because she just went to go get a pack of cigarettes or whatever. And then you find out the kid passed because the mom left, never came back, and he died in a fire or some horrible thing like this. But he has survived by keeping it together with all these other spirits he's noticed, but has no idea he's one. It's an insane subject.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you go into a place that has so many spirits to figure out which ones knows about the other ones and which ones don't know about the other ones. Which ones might go out of this room and which ones might just stay in this room. Yep.
And the ones that here's a one too. This describes to me the fascination with their mindset. this understanding this little bit was how I was able to go on a battlefield and go and just sort it, and say, okay, who's paying attention, who feels like they can reach out and grab somebody else that might listen to you. I mean, they were working with me. It took no time at all, So this man, I think it was an old farmhouse, if I remember correctly. He had passed, his wife had passed before him. She had it together. She crossed right over, was getting all of her stuff. She's happy. She's got no earthly burdens. Her limp is gone. The sickness is gone. You know how it is. Once you cross over and you go through all your stuff, and you go through your and you're all that's, you're just back. You're your best you. And she's coming back to try to get him to cross over. He's so caught up in grief and loss and in his own stuff, he can't even see her. He's so far out of the love light, he can't even see it anymore. Okay. So it took a couple of people going in there, talking to him. And I always find out, like, okay, how can I connect him to the love light the fastest? Did you have, the brother you loved, the sister you loved, whoever, where was the love? We have to find that. It's a lot of times it's a pet because, they remember the dog, right away they start changing. Well, that's what it took for this man. As soon as he started remembering what love felt like, he could see her.
That's beautiful.
And she was able to talk him and walk him over. And I know you guys have had cases to where you've had to call somebody from the other side, peek around the corner and tell them it's okay. I had one that made me so angry one time. I'm like, that's it. I'm calling his mother. I've had it up to here. And I start talking with the guy. It's a guy with another medium. We're calling on his mom. And boy, if she didn't come get him, but it just, you cannot put all of these stories in a neat little file cabinet. And everybody wants to do that. Everybody wants to call it. It's all so scary. Well, yeah, it can be scary. I mean, I've seen people picked up and thrown across the room. But, a lot of times that's a challenge. That's your own ignorance, your own ego, your own, these provokers, these jerks that want whatever. And, what's it feel like to be shot? You want to see, and they get hit in the stomach or smacked in the face for whistling Dixie on the, on the Yankee side or whatever, just being ignorant, But if you go in there like you guys do, and I know you guys appreciate the history of a property as well. You look into the feelings of the individuals, like I'm so with you, Steph, as far as going into a house when somebody says, I want them out of here. Hold on a minute. Right. Everybody's got rights, and the opposite for me is also true. I run into more of the dead and breakfast, where somebody was hacked to death on the couch and now they're selling, your cold mutton stew or whatever. Well, we don't want the spirits to leave. We're making too much money on them. We don't want you to cross them.
But
honey, guess what?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They're not even those spirits anymore. We all know that those are, that's why I will
long gone.
They're gone.
Totally agree.
Yeah. The reason why I'm not going to pay their high, enormous prices to go into this place that people have created a tulpa or whatever you want to call it.
Yes. I told y'all.
Beings. You are not talking to Lizzie Borden. You are not talking to the kids from the Conjuring house. They are not there.
No, and the ones in Villisca, I can tell you, I have gone round and round and round. Look, I've got some. I always say, people with abilities more honed than mine will ever be, and people with this massive ability, everybody has like this, a niche, what I mean? That they're just so good at, they can go in and they can just bam, 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 bam. And if you've got a group like that, boy, I'm telling you, you can really do some good. You can really do some good. And it's amazing. I mean, you've never done anything in your life that other than maybe giving birth or helping someone, saving a life. That's what you're doing. You're saving a soul. It's even so much bigger, and it's not you. You're just a link in this, and you're willing to do it, and it passes along. And once you realize you're part of this bigger picture and we are all connected, why are we stopping? Because we're all connected around the whole world. that whole
Right.
butterfly effect, this whole other thing, every past life that's ever lived, everyone that will ever live, all interdimensional, the whole shebang. It's like, it really is like Avatar in a lot of ways. The grass, the whole
Yes.
everything. It's just, you guys are just, if you're thinking, you're like looking through that pinhole, and you're just, if you just pull back and get that 40,000-foot view, you go, oh my gosh, there's so much more. And the
It's
the
such a
Bigfoot people are arguing with the UFO people, and my dog man's bigger than your shadow person. And this, look, I'm going to tell you, there's real
right,
evil and there's really, really good stuff. Where do you want to be? Because you're
right,
going to be walking in and amongst it, just like Michelle said, it's around you all the time. Who are you
yes,
which wolf are you gonna feed?
right.
The story.
Right.
I
And
get so
Guess what?
excited. I'll shut up. I mean, I can't. I just get,
Well, Michelle and I are not here to prove to you that the paranormal exists. We're not here
No.
to get evidence. We are here to help souls and
Mhm.
spirits. I don't
Yes.
have to prove to you that the paranormal exists. You have to prove to me that it doesn't if you
Yep.
really feel that way.
Yep, there it is. I'm tired of
Exactly.
it. Yeah, long time ago. I just said it. Look, and I say it's okay. The ghosts believe in you.
Mhm.
They see you. Why don't you see them? Well, and that's another thing people don't realize. And I try to be so delicate with it. And I talk about, grief. And again, I always open with, nobody can tell anybody how to grieve. That's your thing. That's all personal and everything else. But I can tell you how it affects them. I can tell you how it affects pets. Pets are going to care for you after they die, like they cared for you in life. They care more about more about you than they do themselves. So the best thing you can do is let them go and tell them to go, and get over there and get better, and then come visit.
Right.
Because once they get over there, they get that bouncy trancy back. Like I had to tell my husband's cat, he passed, and boy, was that a story. But and boy, he had that arthritis, so he would favor a back leg. So he would always 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying as far as stepping. Always get on the bed and he'd sleep in the crook of his legs every night. So I feel him. Second night after he passed, I feel him get up on the bed, but it's not 3 anymore; it's 4.
Yep.
And right up the crook. And I just very calmly, put my door back, and I said, "Hey, honey," I said, "but don't stay. He's fine. He'll get through it. You need to go back and finish what you need to do. We'll make sure, but come back and visit. Just don't get stuck. Don't, think you need to stay." And gave him that light. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's all about light. It's all about feeling. And I always say, cry, scream, punch the pillow, do whatever you got to do. Miss them. Of course you miss them. But please finish up with, remember that time we laughed and we sang the song, or we danced barefoot, or we did this, or I bought you that funny shirt and it looks so silly. End it on a laugh, because it's going to help your vibration and it's going to help them. And it gives them a lift instead of pulling them down, if that makes sense. Can you say it better, ladies?
No.
No.
Actually, no. That's beautiful.
Yep.
Absolutely beautiful, Cisco.
But thank you. But you have to be so careful. I'm such an idiot with words. I always never want to forget, because I have grieved so many times. I've been through so much death in my life. And, I'm not saying this half-heartedly or off the cuff. I'm telling you that my father was hated by every child he ever bore, had, let's just say had a hand in. Every woman I ever married, which was 7 of them, I don't know how many kids. I mean, it was so bad. My dad, boy, he looked like Robert Mitchum. Need I say more? So he was a great date, terrible husband. So the thing is all through my life, I'm the youngest of what we count 9, but there's more. And great women he picked to marry, So my mother was terrific. So strong women. Or they didn't make it. I think 5 of them died out of the 7 early, So anyhow, just to show you how much trauma. So at one point I realized I'm the youngest, and everywhere I go, I've never heard a kind word said about him. And I'm learning what I'm learning about earthbound ghosts and spirits, which I think, which I kind of say have crossed over, or visitation or whatever, because they change. So I'm talking to a medium. she's used to bringing in my mom. My mom is like me. She's coming as like, look, I want you to do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. You know, because I sit in front of people and go, what do I need to hear now? What do they need me to know now? Not, I want to speak to such and such, and I want the answer to this. I might not be ready for that. You want a good reading? Sit your butt down, give them the permission to read your energy, and shut up. And let your guides tell you what you need to know in your life right now, and you will get the best reading in the world. If you go in and you're trying to grab somebody who doesn't want to talk to you or is not ready to give you that answer, you're not ready to know that answer yet, you're going to go out and you're going to blame the medium. And that's just not fair, because it's all energy and it's you, and you have to open up and allow it in, because again, your consciousness might not be ready for that answer. And it's not the medium's fault. It's not the spirit's fault. It's you.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Can you add to that? I mean, it's so true.
Go ahead, Stephanie, because we were actually talking about this a few weeks ago.
I think it's important.
Yeah, about, people come to us sometimes, they want to speak to Grandpa. But the thing is, when spirit comes through, and I'm going to give this to you, Stephanie, but when spirit comes through, I know for myself, I ask spirit to give me information that this particular person needs to know most. What's most important? It may not come from Grandpa. It could come from an extraterrestrial or an interdimensional being that is a spirit guide, or, it can come from anywhere of love, because that's all I connect with when I'm doing readings, right? But it's like people really need to be aware that, that's not in our hands. That's higher. We're just the messengers.
Right. And so we were talking, I did a investigation with Paranormal Nightmare, the Foreman brothers, and they introduced me in their show as a psychic medium. And of course, haters gonna hate, and people don't like, their OGs do not like other people investigating with them, especially women. So I got so many hate comments about, well, if she's a psychic medium, how come she's asking who's there? How come she didn't know it was this? How come she doesn't know very much for a psychic medium? And at first I got really pissed off and really upset. And then I started to doubt my abilities. And then Michelle and I started talking, because first of all, I tried to explain, if I'm on video, how are you going to know what's in my head? And I'm just confirming that what I'm feeling and what I'm getting. I already know who was there. Yes, I already channeled before I went into the building what I knew was there. I still have to ask the questions though. And they only tell us what they want us to know. Only certain ones come through. And in this case, the male entity did not want to talk to me, but yet wouldn't let the female that I know needed help talk to me either. I also, whenever I start readings for people, I always say, put your energy on the cards. And if you have a question, ask it in your head to the cards. Don't ask me, but I can't guarantee that's the answer you're going to get, because spirit's going to tell you what spirit wants to tell you. And they'll say, well, how do we know which deck of cards to use? It doesn't matter. I'm going to get the same message no matter which cards we use. The same message that spirit wants you to know is going to be the message. And then
you have to be ready to receive it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. People, often say afterwards, well, aren't there any love cards in those decks? Or what about this? Or how come my grandpa didn't come through? Well, because it was about this message for you, not this. This is what you needed to know right now.
And so many, this is so important. And I'll get back to my dad, but I wanted to get a bunch of this stuff in first, because you'll receive the answer, the punchline better. It's also the person that's not ready to receive the answer will always blame the medium as well. So again, like I said in the beginning, well, that time where you were thinking about buying that blue dress, I hadn't thought about, I haven't been shopping anywhere. I wasn't thinking about buying a dress. She's wrong. She's so off. I don't know any Sam, and then 3 days later, you get a call from Aunt whatever that says, "Oh, well, you coming to the birthday party? Well, he's bringing his friend Sam." Oh, wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
Again, you've spent 3 days bashing this lady. I spent $50. I spent $10. It was free, whatever. People are going to bitch.
Right.
It's just a society we're in. That pendulum's got to keep swinging up a little bit more before everybody gets their common sense back and it swings back. It's coming. We can see it coming. So, and it's just society the way it's gone. I mean, we really grew a lot of people. They're extremely materialistic and very instantaneous. I want this, and fact check this, and no research, and just, headline readers without reading the story. Look, we all come from a generation where we read books that we held in our hands and we went through the experience, and we've honed it over long periods of time. Okay. So it's so important to understand when you're getting a reading to be open and understand that you're probably not ready to hear it. Hold on here. There's another whole aspect. You forgot that they're busy over there. You don't just go over there and float around in a cloud and play a violin. They're doing stuff. Your soul is continuing to learn. You're telling other souls what you learned. You're working through issues. You're seeing how you could have done stuff better. You're trying to raise your vibration because you see how chill and cool it is at this vibration. You go, you mean I can go higher? Yeah, but you have to learn and you have to be ready to let go of these things. And you have to, we learned that from, there's this wonderful story about a little 3-year-old girl who she was an NDE, so near-death experience. And she remembered and told this story when she came back in her own little way, and finally pieced together with very open-minded parents that what had happened to her was she crossed over. She didn't say beings. She said, I can't remember what she called them, peoples or something. I can't remember what it was, that were light, that were real glowy. And they were funny, and they sang, and she could hear music real far away, and they would tell her a joke or tickle her, and she would laugh. And as soon as she laughed, she would lift up, and the colors would get brighter, and the music got louder, and it felt like there was more. She said she could see some colors, and they would tell her something else, and they're floating, they're flying and floating. She's moving up, and she's just doing this with her hands, and she's describing. She said, and then she'd laugh again, and the colors would pop out some more. So what I took that as, every time she laughed, her vibration would raise. She'd lift up to another vibration, and she'd get into the higher realms of this angelic realm of all this beauty where color is more than color and sound is more than sound. And it's such a simple story. But why do we make it so difficult? Right. If we're the same, but we're the same spirit beings. Each one of us here have been through severe illnesses, loss of life, seeing our loved ones, pets and otherwise, the loss. We have been through so many job changes in life. We all know, our stories and things that we've been through. We've come through this and we're still smiling. Why? Because we get it. We get it because if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. We're making warriors here. And a lot of us are light worker warriors. A lot of people here in the chat with us tonight, I know for a fact, light workers. We get people, I play this music and people don't get it. And I laugh my ass off because it's like sage. When I first met my husband, nothing bothered him. That doesn't bother me. I'm like, good, because I'm not changing. One day he comes home and I saged the whole house and I did a whole big cleanse, and I did the whole Archangel Michael vacuum. I did the whole shebang, right? The house was great. He walks in, he goes, what's that smell? Whoa. And I'm like, now we have a problem. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Problem. Yeah. As if you're bothered by sage and holy water and everything else. Get back outside. We got some cleaning to do. But it was just a joke because it's kind of like that in life. You know what I mean? It's like we're walking through, we're standing in the line. Everybody else is getting mad. And we're just watching the characters change. We're almost watching the demon jump through the line. It's like that daggum movie. If you haven't seen it, watch Fallen. Please watch Fallen. Because you can see just this air like going over a crowd and try to push into the back of people and bounce off. Can't get in. The next one, nothing. Nope, nothing. Whoops, right in. And next thing you know, that person is being, instantly possessed. Even for, I call them jumpers, instantly possessed, even not just for a moment. you know, and I've been a bartender. I've watched it happen in bars. A lot of ghosts hang out in bars, people. And I've watched this gray mist go behind people or, like almost pinch a lady's butt. She'll turn around, smack the next guy, causing trouble down the line. And wait, the next thing, a drug addict or somebody really drunk or somebody extremely depressed or infirmed or any combination of those things, an easy target, right into the next thing. They'd change instantly, the personality, everything else. Have you guys, experienced this about how to keep up the boundaries? You talked a little bit about, what you guys do before you do readings, before you do investigations or otherwise. I mean, a lot of my medium friends eat chocolate. We sing, I put music before this because I'm trying to find a good word to call the people that are full of anxiety and aren't ready for this program can't make it through this music. Why am I listening like dancing chickens? Why am I watching possums on Roombas? This is making me insane because it's beautiful music and it's high vibrational. Well, honey, if you can't get through that, you can't listen to what we're going to talk about because you're going to take something out of the electronics. It's going to get you. You're going to be an easy target. And I'd rather you just go out now. It's like Sage. And they bitch about it in the comments. And it's like, I came here for demons and I got dancing chickens and I just can't be here. I'm like, well, collect your money at the door, get your money back, and, don't let the door hit you on the ass. You're not ready for it. You're not ready for it because, honey, I'll show you dark, but you're going to go through the light first because you're not getting nothing stuck on me either with your, because
Right.
you bring one negative person into a circle. It changes everything, doesn't it, Stephanie?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
my God. And then you've got that one bitching. They're sitting there, and it's like, I don't understand why this isn't working. I don't understand why he's not coming through and talking to me.
Right.
She's not saying anything that's making any sense to me. I just want my $20 back, and I don't know why I shaved my legs for. And you don't understand why you're not getting a reading from a higher dimensional being, a higher vibrational being. You're just exuding negativity. And like Stephanie said, when you go into, you really think you're talking to lazy boarding, you're talking to a combination of topa, a mixture of all this dark, nasty stuff that people are constantly talking about. You don't think it causes bad energy for some jamoke to sit on it? Look, I'm sorry. You're going to get the truth here. To sit on a couch and get their picture taken on a couch that they think, first of all, you're stupid. That's not the couch. It's a replica. Second of all, thank God it's not the couch. And third, you're laying on that couch getting your picture taken for your Facebook page.
Right.
A man had his head bashed in. Who are you?
Right. Right.
And now you're going to sit here and talk about, Lizzie, did you have sex with your sister? Did you kill your father? Did you kill your stepmother? Did you? You don't think that creates a dark mass of nasty energy? And that's what you have there. She's long gone.
Right.
She's long gone. We've had multiple mediums tell us she's over there. She's done. She's laughing at you talking about this mess. Can she come back and visit? And can somebody get a real reading and have a real conversation? You bet they can. Doesn't mean she's stuck there. Talk on that a little bit. That's amazing to me.
I have a case. So the Randolph County Asylum here in Indiana, it's one of the only places that we paid to go to. And the tour guides, they'll take you on the tour. Now, Kate is very much by the book. She will only tell you the things that she has seen in writing that has been fact checked. And she doesn't want anything to do with the paranormal. She just is a tour guide there. The other two guys or whoever, and now they've got new ones, they embellish everything. So the first one that took us was not her. It was one of the guys. And he told us all about all of these, alleged spirits that are still there. It was a poorhouse. It was an asylum. It was an infirmary. It was all these things. And this little boy, Noah, was one of them. So at the time, I wasn't the medium of the group. We had a medium of the group, and we went in and we were talking to Noah. And we were talking to Noah, an entity that goes by Noah. Noah was never a little boy. Noah was never a little boy in that asylum. Noah was made up by another medium. And then the tour guides took it and ran with it. And so then everybody goes in to talk to Noah. And yeah, we were talking to Noah, but he never existed in that asylum ever. And it pissed me off because I was like, what the heck are you talking about? You know, stop making
I know
shit.
exactly what you mean. Because, you know, the people in my chat know me. They've been watching me for years. And I used to say back when I was just doing radio and stuff, I said, you don't understand. 50 years in this has got me to the point where I absolutely love and understand ghosts of all kinds and spirits of all kinds and the spirit guides. I'm really getting to understand that a little bit. I love the fact that specialty ones jump in it throughout your life because you might need a little help during that time. And I'm like, specialty spirits. I love that idea. Why not? Why wouldn't they? Of course they do. You know, because when you need a spot, and that, you know, a couple will come in, maybe one or two come in with you, right, and stay with you the whole time, and you're never really alone. Listen, this stuff is fantastic, and y'all are getting all jammed up on the black t-shirts and the whoopee cons that light up and stuff, and that's fine. But there's so much more to that because, like Steph said earlier, a lot of times we use these things to back up the feelings we are already getting. We're trying to keep our baseline. You know, like I use dowsing rods. Because to me, that's, you know, it just worked for me. Love the flashlight on and off thing. Like when I went to the battlefield in Gettysburg, Halloween night, 150th anniversary.
Nice.
At midnight on the battlefield, as close as we could get at midnight, because trust me. So we're there, and the whole thing's a battlefield anyway. The group that came to me that was standing in front of me, I mean, they were just right there at this witness tree. And right away I was getting pickup. So there was a lot of equipment because we had to go on a tour to get on the field, you know, so we had to go with it. And I already got with the tour guide and said, look, you know, if I see any that are going to listen to me, will you go off so I can see if I can cross them? Because, and he was a soldier too. He says, can you do that? And I'm like, it's up to them. You know, it's just, I'm just here. And he did, he let me. So the point was, I have dowsing rods in my hand. I have a meter on the ground, the EMF meter, okay, a flashlight, and something else. I can't remember what the heck it was. I asked one question, and these guys knew. Look, every hour on the hour for how long a tour? Think about it. They know what they're looking at. The ones that are intelligent, that are paying attention, right? Because you've got all kinds there, all the same, all different realms right there. And they crossed when I asked a question for you, they crossed the rods, uncrossed them, lit up the darn stuff, and then unlit everything and went next.
Right.
I mean, and then you go in and it could take hours to get them to just flick a light on and off. Or the cat, you know, the cat balls, I think, are the smartest thing I've seen come out in a long time in the past couple of years, because how simple. It just gives them something simple that they can move. I love all the other stuff. And I love going on investigations where other people get that, because I'm walking around using my tools.
Right.
And that's what, you know, so again, it doesn't matter if you're doing the pendulum or whatever. Most of the time, whether you're a medium, a psychic medium, or whatever, these are things we do. You'll also see the people who, you know, like write on the pad.
Yeah.
And here's something where paranormal helped me in life. I had a son who was so freaking smart. He was in this realm of, I can listen to you, but I got to be doing something else to retain what you're telling me. He would doodle.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard kids getting in trouble? He's drawing in class. I said, you leave him alone, because this is how he's concentrating and taking in what you're saying, and he'll retain that. I said, give it a week and tell me if I'm not right. I was right. But I learned that from trying to understand mediums and psychics and the paranormal and how they dealt with their abilities. So there's so many things that this can teach you about life. There's so many things that the dead are dying to tell us about living. What has been the message that you got yourself, you got at you know, an investigation or in a reading for somebody else, or in a story that you heard in your life? that gave you a little, that one special shiny tool you put in your toolbox that in the hard times you could look at and you could go, you know what? It keeps coming back, this message, this, this thing. I know there's more. What's that story, Steph, for you?
Mm. That's a
Do you
good
want,
question.
do you want to think about it? Do you have one, Michelle?
Yeah. Mhm.
Go ahead and then come and think about it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was doing a personal reading. This was not long after my NDE. I had just met Stephanie. So this was just 4 years ago now, maybe? If
5
it's not
maybe.
more, 5.
Mhm.
And I was just realizing, Spirit had taught me how to read raw crystals. And because I never knew how and never even knew it was a thing until after the NDE. So I started doing readings. And one of the first readings, I don't know, maybe it was the third or fourth that I did. There was a lady that I had seen. Let's see, how can I say this? I had seen 3 children. Just bear with me. I know this is going to sound sad, but just bear with me. I'd seen 3
I
children
trust you.
that had burnt, and an older woman that had burnt, okay, in a fire. And so, come to find out, when I gave this, because at that time I didn't do live readings, I recorded it and sent it. And I hadn't heard from this person for about 2 weeks. And I was really anxious because I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done something right. I've really not received information correctly. So she contacted me after about 2 weeks and she said, this is really hard for me. But she said, I want you to know there's no way, because this was a person in California and I lived in Kentucky. Never met. Okay. But she said, I want you to know there's no way you could have known. And I had 3 children that did burn in a house fire with my mother. She had went on a date with her husband and to get out of the house. And while they were gone, the house had burnt. And everything that had came through within the crystals was what I had described to her. So that was the first real moment that I said, oh my gosh, Spirit, this is real. It's like I knew it was real before, but it didn't really click, if that makes sense. It did, but it didn't. And in this moment, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm supposed to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though it's a sad story, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yes, this is something she's probably never going to completely heal from in this lifetime, okay? At the same time, there were other things that came through that helped her progress forward. So it's like, guys, we never know. We never know how much, especially if we're like living in some kind of fear. Like I was living in fear. I didn't trust my abilities 100%. Okay. And when I didn't trust my abilities, I wasn't trusting God, the divine, the universe. I wasn't trusting 100%. But when that happened, that was the moment I was like, okay, I understand now.
Gave you that a little bit of confidence and push you to, it's what I call it's a real simple term for something so beautiful, but it's really what I call like little mile markers and like little attagirls. Like, you get to that point where you see, hey, this might be what I'm supposed to do. And for some people, you might need to take a little bit more of a baby step in that instead of a giant leap and say, you know what, I'm going to move in this direction and see, because at this point in time, I'd expect some turns, because this is where you start getting woven. And like you, Stephanie, you're doing so many different things and you do them all so well. but you don't have to pick just one thing either, because it's all connected. So I think we get stuck on that sometimes. It's a beautiful story. Did you think of one before we getting into this wonderful that you got on Getz Spooky Society?
Well, interestingly, I just had a QHHT session this year, and I had only been hypnotized one other time and taken back to a past life. And
Right.
I thought it was multiple lives that I went back to. So then this time it was a different technique, similar, different technique. And I went back and I figured out that all the ones that I thought were different were all one lifetime. And what I was supposed to get out of it, I was supposed to, in that lifetime, I was murdered. I was the town 17-year-old witch, whatever. It was very small town, whatever. But I was trying to save this 3-year-old little boy from being murdered by what would have been the equivalent of his grandparents. I don't know how they ended up with him. They were not his grandparents, but I knew they were going to murder him. And they did. And I didn't save him because everybody was afraid of me, because he wasn't really afraid. He just didn't trust me because I was the witch. Long story short, I've been trying to save that 3-year-old little boy in this lifetime every time I turn around, in my relationships, my dogs, everything. And in all of these, in a lot of these investigations, 3-year-old little boy spirits come to me. And now I know why. Because I'm attracting
They recognize the energy.
Yeah.
And they recognize that energy.
Yeah. And now I know that I wasn't supposed to save him. I was just supposed to be there, be an inspiration to him. I wasn't supposed to. That was his journey. That's on
his
him.
journey.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool that you know that. It's so cool that you know that. When you get these things and you let it be, you just let it be. You stop struggling with it. You let it be. All of these realizations come to you and you go, oh my gosh, it's so much simpler than I thought, but so much more complicated. I mean, it's so intriguing. It's like I said, it's like this basket of all these dark yarns intertwined together, and you've got to sort them, and you can pull on one as long as you can. Listen, it's gonna be the yarn it is. However long you have to be there pulling on it and sorting it and getting it all separated. But once you get it all separated, you realize it's all yarn.
Right.
So it's absolutely crazy. So I'm going to tell you this real fast about my dad, and I definitely want to hear the story about this wonderful investigation you guys did, because it'll blow your mind. But I also want you to go to Get Spooky and see it, because it's Michelle and it's Steph together, and you had the wonderful. Was it Dale on the camera as well? The gentleman you hear in the background, he knew what he was doing too. I loved his suggestions and the things he was saying throughout. It's one of those where, if you don't know the caliber of spirit that we're dealing with, and I include us in that, I include, everybody in that household, everybody that was involved, because there was more than one spirit. I felt it too. You know that, you guys know, and it's a little bit of the property situation going, a little bit about I would say, for the homeowner has got their own that goes with them, and beforehand and probably after, and it's a bloodline thing. I would say that's just a guess. But you picked it up too. I know you did. So, but and that's not a bad thing. We always think that those are bad things. It's not. Again, it's part of their journey, and it might be more than one journey together for two spirits. It might be. It sounds so scary, but think about it this way: would it be so scary if you found out it was a loved one in your past life that they were just not reincarnated, but we're going to walk together with your soul anyway through this journey?
Right.
It's not so scary then, is it? We always like to put the dark stuff on it. But again, it's the same back and forth. So here's a little thing about energy to show you how everything is connected, and how your mouth, how spelling, okay, all of this, it counts. And even what we think and how we react, all of it. So as I said, I'm the youngest and very split up family. All over the place. You can just imagine. I think when I was born, my mother was 42. My dad was a 6th marriage. It's a Brady Bunch situation. Little his, hers, mine, yours, and ours in the house, right? So we got teenagers coming out the windows, okay? And I'm born, and all of this stuff happens. So of course they split off and come back, and everybody's got their opinion about Dad. So again, never hearing a good thing, and maybe he didn't deserve to have a good thing. Who knows? I was 3 when he left. What memory do I, but he was my father. That's it. Just bloodline father. Maybe that So I start learning enough in the paranormal to realize, hey, maybe that was just our, soul group agreement where he's supposed to come in, just bip, he's here for this. I'm here. I've already agreed to forgive him because this is our life journey. So I'm chill with it. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I'm going to be the one to send you good energy. So thank you for being my father. I'm sending you love and happy energy, right? Because I'm talking to a wonderful medium who I trusted, sat in front of. Mom comes through, and I happened to ask her. This is like the third time she'd come through. We were having a cozy convo, and I said, "Hey, what about Dad? Where's he at?" And I'm, even though I think I know what I know, this is like 25 years ago. You don't, because tomorrow you're going to learn more. And so I'm sitting there, and I said, I'm a little worried about him. So the medium kind of listens to what my mom is telling her, and she kind of laughs because that's my mom. And she says, I don't want to talk about him. I'll help him. I want to talk about my grandsons because they were going through some stuff, right? And you need to take your hats off and, sit on that damn toolbox of yours and let them go through their journey. And you just have to love them through it. And I'm like, okay. It's like the hardest thing I ever did. It was like, okay. So then she goes, all right, I'll go get your father. I'll go down and get your father. And I jump up and I look at the video. I go, no, tell her, don't go down there. Because I'm thinking the way she said it, we all just laughed. She goes, no, he's just on a lower vibration. So she says the medium is cracking up because my mom's a hoot. And she goes down and gets my dad, and the visual that the medium sees is her grabbing him by the collar like this and pulling him up, like, get your ass up here. She wants to talk to you. And that's why the medium's laughing so much. And she says, do you understand this? I'm like, oh, girl, yeah, I get it. So I said, well, is he okay? Because, I never hear anything about him, and again, they're not ready to come through, whatever. And she says he can't speak and he's got his head down. He won't lift his head up. He's ashamed of something. And I'm like, I get it. So I let that go because my mom says, I'll help him. She's like, she was hesitant, but over there, a lot of that stuff's forgiven and you get it by then. So it's not the same as here. Trust me, guys. So I decided to go on this quest where every time I think about it and I'm sending out good energy, I'm going to send it to him too. 2 years later, same medium. I'm in a class. We're working on stuff. And she does a quick reading through because, your mom's been here all night. She's got something to tell you. And I'm like, oh, bring her in. She comes in. She tells me what she wants to tell me. It's fourth sister. And she goes, wait a minute. There's a man here and he's in a uniform. My dad was in the army. So was my uncle. So I wasn't sure. And I know a lot of soldiers. So I'm like, okay, keep coming. She says, he's saying something. He's like, he says he's got his head up. And I'm like, okay, keep going. And he says, wait a minute. He's trying to say something. And the first words my father says to me, I would not have been a good role model for your sons. I said, that's my daddy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Just me sending him happy thoughts and energy lifted him so much. He found something to be proud of. His uniform came in dress greens. He found something to feel good about, lifted his head up and could speak. Energy and words, thoughts, everything has meaning.
Yep.
Yep.
And power.
Take it away. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard anything like that, but it makes perfect sense knowing what you know that it would work that way, would it not?
For sure.
So the opposite can be true. The constant damning, you're not just hurting them, you're hurting yourselves. Let it go. Forgive them. Let it go. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, ladies. Please tell me about this wonderful. Take it away. I kept you too long and I don't want to go over time. I want to give you as much time as I can for this wonderful story because this is beautiful, folks. This is it. This is what you shoot for when you're doing this, when you're like us. Other people might say it's for that photo or that film or that thing. That's not, this is it right here. Go ahead.
Thanks. So I'll set the stage because she called me, but I also want to say thank you, Ghost Lore, for posting all of the links to my channel. But Michelle also has a channel.
Yes, please do. I put it in the description, both the channels, yours, Michelle, too. And it's also now what last name are you using? Because I did not know whether to use Rogers or what do you prefer? Because I don't want to send them to the wrong place. I used that one channel. Is that good? I think we froze her up. She'll be back.
Yeah.
She'll be right back.
Brandenburg.
Brandenburg.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
Can you hear
mods.
me?
My mods are terrific. They'll pull it up, but it's also
Oh.
in the description, sweetie.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I use Brandenburg now. I went through a divorce. I was Rogers.
And she's at her
I went through a
dad's.
divorce and I took my maiden name back. So I'm Brandenburg.
Okay, sweetheart. There she is.
So I got a call from the homeowner, Rebecca, and it's so funny because it's my phone number, but I don't say it's Get Spooky, and so then I'll hello, and they're like, are these the ghost hunters or what? It's always so awkward, and so she proceeds to tell me that she has a lot of activity in her house, and she lives in Rising Sun, Indiana, and she has a lot of activity. It was built in the mid 1850s. We all know it doesn't have to be an old house, but sometimes that's more fun, whatever. So she's telling me this information. She says she's hearing voices. Her daughter used to live with them. And when her daughter lived there, it was more in the daughter's bedroom and she saw things and whatever. The daughter moved out. I'm not sure how long ago, but she just told them she was pregnant last June. A week and a half after the daughter told them she was pregnant, the voices started and the closet door started shaking and all the knocks and all the stuff. So she tries to send me a couple clips and, she needs them removed from her house. Of course, that's the first thing they always say and whatnot. And so it follows her, like the voices follow her everywhere she goes. There's a man, there's a woman, there's a this, there's a that. It's Get Spooky Society. So anyway, I said, well, can you understand what they're saying? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, what are they saying? All these sexual things. They know, and she's like, and they know what kind of lingerie I have, and they tell me to put it on, and that I'm their wife and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, not to not believe you, but could it be that possibly it's somebody that knows you and they've because she said the voices come out of the grates and they just have a device in your house. I mean, how many places have been caught doing that charge us to go there and they're just messing with you. No, we have security. We have this. Okay. All right, cool. So set it up for the middle of the day because I don't know this person. I'm, leery. And plus that was the only time we could really go. Well, it's the day after my birthday celebration. And also I just been in Arkansas crystal mining. It's like so I'm going to reschedule. And then Michelle's coming in for my birthday Friday night. So I said, Michelle, could you possibly stay and go with us? And she's like, yeah, cool. Cause we've never been able to investigate together. So I said, awesome. So I'll keep it. All I told Michelle was that it was a house. I may have told you it was in Indiana. I don't remember if I told you it was in Indiana, but I said, she says, what do you know? And what's happening? And I said, she's complaining of voices and knocks and all of this stuff. That's all I told her. So Michelle meditated for 3 days and I meditated for 3 days. And we both sat down and wrote all of our stuff out and took it with us. And when Michelle started telling me some of the stuff that came to her, I was like, you have no idea. Like, you have no idea how accurate that is going to be, how much that is going to fit in. And I didn't even know yet. Like, I had no idea. So Dale is the videographer. The three of us go. Unfortunately, the place is filled with cats, a dog, stuff everywhere. Dale says, do they just take their clothes off and throw them in a pile and then buy new ones? Like, just piles of clothes, stuff everywhere.
And keep in mind, this is something mediums will tell you, that if your house is a clutter, you're in chaos, so are you. And and the negative can really thrive in that environment. Is that not true? Do you find that as well? Okay. Just saying, I'm not calling you dirty. I'm just saying, look, I'm all a clutter too, but I deal with it well. So just saying. But I saw it. Yeah, that's the first thing that came into my mind too.
Yeah. And I forgot they had a pet python, a pet tarantula, and a pet scorpion. Yeah. So I decide when we get there, I said, Michelle, I want Dale to follow, because usually a lot of times Dale will walk around with me and just see what I feel in the house or the location. I said, walk around with Michelle, see what she gets, and then walk around with me separately and see if we pick up on the same stuff. And some of the stuff we did, and some of it we picked up different things. So that just goes to prove also that not all spirits go to the same. So if you've got 2 or 3 mediums in one place, it doesn't mean that you're all going to get the same spirits communicating with you.
Absolutely true.
So then, Michelle, go ahead and tell like what happened, because it's very important where you were led when you did the walk.
Yeah, it was. And I may say too that if you're familiar at all with an older show called Rescue Mediums, the format that they did is very much what the Rescue Mediums did, because they always meditate and take notes and don't pull it out till, after the fact too. And I just thought that was wonderful. A lot of people do that. It's such a healthy thing to do, because you're off by yourself, you and your guides, getting what they need you to know at the time, not necessarily getting it all. Right. Little bits, little parts. And I think that's so important. I love that you guys did that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey.
So do you just want me to tell about the first part of it?
Or why don't you tell about, well, we both got the little girl in the basement, but why don't you tell about, just for time frame, how the video that you were drawn to, and then like the name, the word that came through that we thought was a name, but it wasn't.
Okay. So I was drawn. I'm an energy worker. So like I hear and feel, see energy. Like when I look, my vision of everything going on, people, things, it's like I don't see things after the NDE the same. I see the energy off of it as well. Okay.
And you're also getting psychometry off of it as well. I see you touching a lot of things and feeling. So you're getting that. Yes. I do that as well. I'll get that vibration off of there. Yeah.
Yes. So while I was investigating, I felt, I can't remember which finger, but I felt the spirit grab my finger and pull me into this built-in cabinet. And it was in the living room, and it was full of movies, of DVDs. And so it took me to the exact one, and it was an Oriental movie of some kind. And I don't remember the exact name I was getting, or I didn't actually get the name, did I? I was looking for the name on the video.
You were getting that he was that the person was trying to give you the name, that it was on that DVD somewhere. That was, you were getting it, but that, that happens a lot with mediums. We're not 100% sure of why we're seeing the picture. We're trying to sort through the yarn, the tangled yarn, and we're trying to figure out what they're saying. And you did a beautiful job. I thought you did, because you moved right along with it. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, it's just trial and error.
Right. Exactly.
So anyways, but then after the movie, then the spirit grabbed my hand again, and we went over on a mantle were 2 different devices. One of those was a Blu-ray player, and it took me to the Blu-ray player. So further on in the investigation, the lady, she said that they had replaced the DVD player, the Blu-ray, 5 times. And come to find out, what we do I tell or no? Okay. So what we came to find out during investigation, family, everything else, concerning the DVD, a Blu-ray player was basically this person who was Oriental was attempting to get the attention of the homeowners to let them know that they were there. So should I hand it up to you now? Let you finish.
So I thought it was so interesting. The Yakuza was so interesting to me and really stood out to me for a certain reason. But go ahead first. I won't say it yet.
Right. So the homeowner was telling us all these things that had happened, and Yakuza was one of the words that she had heard from the entities in the house. And I didn't know what that was. We thought it was a name. So we're looking all over on this Asian DVD for
Mhm.
Yakuza, thinking that was the name, like a last
Mhm.
name or something, and it wasn't. So we didn't know what it meant at the time. Also, the name of the DVD was The Replacement Killers. So it was about murdering. And if you looked at all of the DVDs, they were like vampires and murder and horror and all of the stuff. The
Mhm.
house is decorated in blacks and reds, and there's Dracula posters on the wall, and she's got her hair dyed red, and she's in, she's got a pentagram necklace and the number 13 on a skull on her, we see their colors for their Harleys, hanging on the thing and whatnot. They have a pet python, like all of the stuff. And so we don't put it together, and we think we're having a language barrier, but we just weren't getting, there were so many spirits in that house. We weren't able at that time to like figure out what was jumbled up until they told us to go to the toilet.
Mhm.
So then we go to the bathroom, and I let Michelle go on in because she already had an experience in there. And so I was running I never use the Ghost Seer app, but
Mhm.
for whatever reason, I decided to use it that day. So Michelle, go ahead and say what happened to you in the bathroom.
So while we were in the bathroom, that is actually when we started realizing that we were connecting, of course, using different devices, but also interaction with the devices. And it was like intelligent interaction, meaning pretty much immediate.
Mhm.
I did get grabbed to my left side, and it was like, squeezing pretty tightly, but it wasn't actually, I don't feel like, to hurt me in any way. I feel like it was trying to get my attention
Mhm.
to help me. Okay. But it's like, all in all of a sudden, it's like, I'm saying one thing, and then ding, Stephanie's getting something over here.
Yes.
It's like immediate. It's like, that's what I'm talking about by intelligent.
Mhm.
It's like, it's not something that's residual energy,
And it's responding to what you're actually saying as well on top of it. It's not
Yes.
just the flashlights and the cat toys going off in response, going on command or in answer, and then going back off again. It's
Right.
intelligent answers as well. And you were getting pictures too. There was something you were using where you were getting pictures. What was that, Seth?
It's a Ghost Tube Seer, and
Okay.
it brings up AI images that are supposed to give you they're not supposed to be the exact image, but just give you an idea.
Right.
So what I had gotten was a picture of a beach with a bunch of Asians on it. And I was
Yeah, that blew my mind. Yeah, blew my mind.
So Michelle had gotten a vision of, tell her about the vision with the bend in the road and the water and the
water was huge.
Yeah.
So Michelle, go ahead and tell about that vision that you got.
Okay. So what happened was, while we were in the bathroom, the information kept coming through that there was this accident. Okay. And that's information that had came through actually while I was in meditation in Kentucky, of course, not knowing where I was going. Right. So at one point, I began reading it on camera that you would see on the video. And as I was reading it, then the homeowner starts screaming, "Oh my God!" And then they start telling of something that had happened 2 years ago, where they had literally, basically what I was describing that I had written on paper and showed on camera. I described what had happened
Right.
2 years prior. So I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. So what happened was Michelle had gotten a vision, and she was put in the driver's seat. This woman that was driving a vehicle. Michelle did not know we were going to be right on the Ohio River on a bend, and it was a bend in a river.
Mhm.
And she, but in her vision, she was the woman driving, and her mom was in the car. But actually, there was a little girl and a little boy in the car with this person in reality. So it's all in the messages that you're getting versus what reality was as well. And she asked her mom to help her as they went into the water. So with me getting imagery, I also got an image of a big building on fire, and we didn't quite figure that one out until the research I'll tell you now afterwards. And so she's asking if there was something that happened with a fire, and she's talking to this gentleman in a suit, and he's in the first picture of the Asians. There is a man in a suit there that's been watching over these kids and this woman. So anyway, there wasn't a fire, and the husband from the other room yells in, "Ask if somebody drowned." And so she asked if somebody drowned. Yes. Mm-hmm. So then all of a sudden I get an image of all of this turbulent water. Fog,
and the picture comes up on the phone. They're sending it. So chat, the spirit, the earthbound ghost in the house, which I believe the strongest one in that house that you were communicating with at the time was the little girl.
Yes.
And I don't think the mom was there. I think the mom was still lost. And if coming through, it was maybe the connection. There was some kind of disconnect with the mom. She died with such fear. And I think you understand what I mean here. I don't think she was in control. And right. The little girl seemed to be the strongest. And I think it was a little girl who grabbed you in the bathroom when, you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
almost like
it was right at the level of my kidney.
Yes. And this is why you didn't feel fear either. It wasn't like, and keep in mind through this whole thing, and I highly recommend you go watch it all. I'm going to pull it up before we go and show you the whole channel. There's like 3 that go together because it's the attic. Then there's the part 1 and part 2. Got to watch the whole thing and see how this unfolded, because it is 100%. I tell you guys this all the time, and I know a lot of investigators that listen to this, they go, oh, there's no way we were there, hours and we didn't get anything.
Right.
It has to be the right recipe for it to work this way. And this is the right recipe, when you have that going in. So it does make a difference. But this little girl, I think, was the strongest one. The other stuff is drawn from the living that brought.
Yeah. So,
but keep going with what happened with the water, because to me, you know why it's so exciting? Because to me, it's like a technical thing that's come up in our time to almost show what mediums get when they're getting pictures from the spirit and we have to interpret it. So you might get water and then you're going water. Why am I seeing water? So this is great that you're able to see this. So watch the videos for that alone. Okay. I'll shut up. I get so excited.
I know. What's great is what was so mind-blowing is when the husband brings she starts to tell us, the wife starts to tell us the thing. The husband brings in the article on his phone. The woman and the 2 little kids that went into the river 20 years ago, 21 years ago, and were just pulled from the river like 2 or 3 years ago, were Asian, Vietnamese. So what we think, Yakuza means gangster, mafia in Asian.
Right.
There were rumors that the husband had just divorced her. There were rumors that he may have unalived them and then sent them into the river. Or Michelle's vision was that she was blinded and had an accident or swerved and ended up in the river. So either way, she was either trying to tell us that she didn't do it on purpose. Like she had left a note and said to her parents and her ex-husband, take this money and this jewelry to bury us. I'm going to drive the kids into the river.
Right. I can't. Which was bullshit. The whole letter's bullshit. The minute I heard it, I knew it because it just fell flat. We don't know how to describe it when we get things that work for us. This is a tool that works for me. When I hear something, it feels flat to me. There's no emotion coming from what I would consider the woman or the child, because now they're all in a group. They're almost the same energy that breaks off a little bit. The girl is the most strong. I think the boy went across instantly.
Right.
I really do. But the mom hesitated. I'm not sure where she is because it's like they almost have a connection, but the girl can pull off. She was drawn to the house because there's other spirits in the house. This is not far. How far away is the accident?
It's not very far at all. And then what I couldn't figure out is based on where they lived, why she was there. She was 45 minutes to an hour away from where they lived. This was right down the road from the casino. She worked at the casino.
Okay. I had her kids with her.
And the kids, and
Babysitter,
they
daycare.
went, no, they went there because where they went into the river was very close to there, and Asians had lived in that house. So there were
Maybe
other
for help.
Asian owners of that house.
He
I think
did.
that's why they were drawn there.
And the answer to me, it lies in the year and type of the car. If you can get that information should be out there, because I want you to look into whether or not that car can be controlled. You can go all the way back to, that's what I got immediately when, in fact, I got it when you got the picture of the water. Because now I'm really turned in. And again, folks, when you put on electronics, it's like you're giving permission to accept energy. This is why I tell you, don't accept the text message. Don't answer the phone. Don't go on social media if you're weak, because you're going to accept all of that dirty, nasty stuff that's coming at you. You're when you hit the button, that's your permission to accept the energy coming through. Why we're sitting here saging things,
Right?
You know,
Right.
I mean, just trust me. You know, so, but as soon as you got as soon as you, I got my buzzing fan. Listen to me. We ain't playing. You know, I'm going to eat chocolate and pray after this. So, because listen, as funny as this is and as wonderful as it worked out, this was, I'm going to say that allegedly, this could very possibly be a murder of a whole family and children.
Her name, are you ready?
Yeah.
Stephanie. The woman's name was Stephanie. Yes.
And as soon as you said Yakuza, I'm like, okay, he was involved in crime. He owed money, something. He had to get rid of them. I don't know about life insurance or anything else. She knew something. I could almost see her yelling at him, if you don't let me go, I'm going to tell. And the next thing it got calculating after that. And I think there was some kind of, he had connection, or somebody had connection to, and it's not hard to do, folks. Believe me, I was military. They had it years and years ago, directed that car and drove it right into the water or disabled it.
It said what kind of car it was, and I deleted, or I got.
Well, with chips coming out in what, 2000, you know, I mean, I was in Alabama and Saturns, they were building it to where you could control. They would tell you they couldn't.
Yeah.
But you look into a little story from Michael Hastings, who was a journalist, and they ran his Mercedes, and he must have hit the engine went a football field when he hit those trees and telephone pole. Michael Hastings, you can see it all on video. He had total loss of control of car. So I hate chips in a car. Give me an old car.
Yeah.
But it's true. You know, there's some kind of mechanism, some kind of thing, you know, keep digging around in it. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. But okay. I think that's so important.
Yeah. It was, it was definitely amazing. I could have stopped the investigation right there. Unfortunately, we had other work to do. Unfortunately, there are other spirits there that could really use our help that we just didn't get to because the place is just full.
Yeah. It's being drawn in on the things they're buying as well. They're picking up things that other things are attached to. There's something attached to two different things of her jewelry. I can tell you that right now. I know it sounds weird, but it's true.
She gave us each rings, and we both disposed of them.
We just talked about this yesterday.
Two pieces of jewelry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last night. Wow.
Yeah. And no offense to her. Look, we don't mean any offense to the people. We do this all the time because we have to go through. I have friends that all send places that have most of them have questionnaires. They want to know, is there any fighting in the house? Is there any drugs, alcohol, abuse, mental health issues? Have we checked the doctors? They have to go through the stuff because just like the Lizzie Borden house, just like all the other ones we're mentioning, energy has power. People have abilities. You know, again, it could be the 16-year-old not realizing, it could be the mom, it could be whatever. And all of these things can be very scary. And again, we're sorting baskets of yarn here. Right. We have no clue. But this is a daggum murder. And this little girl, I could tell you something else about her, and I could be completely off. But when you started talking to her, she's in the room. I'm pulling her energy. So I'm getting stuff too. And I'm thinking to me, you know, that abusive household where there's two kids and was she the older sister and the brother younger? Okay. That's why I was getting that, because she's a fixer. She was the fixer of the family. When they started fighting, she would take the little boy in the room and play a game, turn on a cartoon, get a bowl of cereal, tried to keep the mom calm because, no, mom, don't, that'll just make him mad. I can see all these little things. This hectic little girl. We got her crossed. I know it was almost instantaneous when she told her story. You felt the air change. So she's good to go. And I know doggone well the brother crossed. What's going on with the mom? Do we know?
I feel like I really do feel like she may not have been there, but I feel like she's the one that wanted us to know that she did not. She just wanted the world to know she did not do it on purpose. She did
So
not
do you think that she crossed? I was getting that she wasn't stuck in this house, but I felt that her energy was present in the time that you were talking.
Yeah,
I know that sounds funny.
I think she wanted to be validated and vindicated that she did not kill her two little kids or herself.
And I think she wrote in on the energy. That's what I meant earlier, where you're connected in that love connection, wrote in on the little girl's energy. Little girl's running around going to this house because she sees the light from the other spirits, however dim they may be. This is just my guessing at this point. This is a theory. She's trying to get the story told because the mom didn't have the energy to do what the little girl's doing. You see, the fixer? And the little boy's crossed. Right. Now, I don't know what's going on with the dad and whether he did it or it was somebody he worked with, something he was caught up in, something that was done to him for revenge. I don't know, but it has something to do with the father where the bad's coming in.
Both the father and the mother were born in Vietnam and came over.
Okay.
So, you know how it is back then when the male was sent, the son was sent over.
The man in the suit is important.
Yeah.
The man in the suit is important. And for them to show you that picture,
and that's
almost like that's what you got. And here he is in front of a group. And when, again, this is going to sound nuts, but when you showed the picture on the video, like what doesn't on this show, when you showed the picture on the video of the group of Asian people, the flash I got was the man who held back the people in Poltergeist. The crazy the guy who was telling everybody that was going to be an apocalypse. He got everybody in a cave and he held them all there. And I was getting vibes of that. And I'm wondering if the guy in the suit isn't the one that was kind of in charge. When you come over like that, there's always an elder, a handler, a person in charge that you got to report to, because especially when you're coming from a culture that depends on reputation is everything, you better stay in line and do what you're supposed. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting from the guy in the suit. I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but on top of that, you got vampires in the attic.
Oh, Lord. Michelle, why don't you take that one?
Oh my gosh.
By the way, she says they've been pushed up and down the steps. You don't need to get pushed up and down those steps. Did you see the steps?
Yeah.
They are straight up and down and about this wide and about that tall and about this.
It's an incredible. The steps. What was his 1800? What was the house?
Middle 1800s, they said.
Yeah. For some reason, they were very upright, very thin, and it could just get up step. It's no more like a ladder. The I've been down a lot of those steps. Isn't that crazy? I know, it's funny.
Yeah. So Michelle, tell what you felt, so Michelle had not been through the upstairs yet. I did, and I went directly to the same room that she directly went to.
Right. So I was being pulled towards this room that Stephanie's talking about, where we'd both been drawn. And I was in there and I could feel it. I could feel an energy. It was to the left back corner. And I asked it why it was in there. And then all of a sudden it's like it pulled me like this. And you'll see my arm like that. And then I look up and there's this attic and it's got duct tape all over it. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Because instantly when I was asking that, I knew, because normally when people do that, they're blocking it off.
Yep.
So either they're blocking it off because of ventilation purposes, because air, whatever, or because there's something that they feel like is there.
Right.
They don't want to open the gate, right?
Right.
So
even better when there's a big old crucifix or something on it, and you've got other things and symbols and stuff like that. And he goes, I don't know what that is. Well, yeah, okay, sure. And it's funny in all the haunted. The first thing that the dumb guy goes in when he buys the house is he's got to know what's behind the locked door that's been locked for 50 years, and everybody said don't unlock it. That's where we're going.
In there.
Yeah. It's so true, baby. We got to hang out together. I'm freaking moving to your state. I can't stand it anymore. We got to do it. God, can you see us all together? Just going through clearing stuff out. Get the heck going. This big old sage sticks the size of Volkswagens just going down the street. You two, get out. Be done.
Right.
Tired of this mess. Big old broom.
So, but anyway, so she climbs up and she takes all the duct tape off, pulls the door off, right?
It's so
and
funny.
Then she gets down, and then Dale, the cameraman, with Get Spooky, he climbs up there and puts a flashlight up there. So, and then we ask a lot of questions, right? Asking about vampire and things like that. Well, come to find out, it's energy vampire, not a literal vampire. But this was, of course, we didn't figure that out. We had thought about the idea of an energy vampire, but of course, it takes time to question and put things together and all that stuff. So it was moving from that room to the bedroom to where we actually got the last of the answers to make everything final, that it was an energy vampire and that it was just wanting to suck her dry of her energy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So she loves vampires. And Dale says, are you afraid of vampires? Do you have a fear of vampires? And she's like, no, I love them. I used to dress up like one every year for Halloween. So this entity that she created the entity. She's mad. She's scared. She wants attention. She created it. Plus, Michelle got some visions of sexual fetishes and stuff. Do you feel like that was also non-human?
That's the one that's attached to her leg. Did she tell you that she's got a pain in her knee and her hip? I would say if I was standing by her, it would be on her left side, her hip, her knee, possibly the arch of her foot. And the reason she's got such pain there is because this is some kind of it was never human, more like almost like a gremlin type thing. It's a minion. I'm sure there's multiple different names for them, but basically it attached to her because she got this from jewelry, antique, secondhand, Poshmark, something, from a very dark place.
Right.
And this is what attached to her. And because of, and again, you can like vampires, you can like Bigfoots, you can like monsters. Eat the chocolate, say your prayers, keep your lights on, because if you've got a crack, it'll attach to you. And the next thing you know is you've got these pains and everything else. She's also got one in her bloodline that's been through it goes back lifetimes. She would need a cord cutting. She would need a detached thing, and she'd have to let go of welcoming. It's gotten darker over time. Darker.
I feel like the whole sexual thing is because
it's part of a fantasy.
This all started right after her daughter told her she was pregnant. So now her daughter doesn't need her anymore. Her daughter's pregnant, having a life, and now she needs attention. And I think that's where the whole sexual thing comes in. And she loves vampires. I cut this part out, but she asked, and she thinks it's Peter somebody from Typo Negative in the band. She sent me pictures. He's scary as hell looking, and he may have faked his death or he might be dead. We're not sure, but he has this, I don't know. Do you know Typo Negative?
I've heard of the blood type.
Well, it's yeah,
I mean,
right.
but as far as but no, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it's a
did she know him? Did she know him?
I think she just is obsessed with him, and he has this really long, thick
It's not
black
him.
and he's got like he's very pale, and it's all men in this band, and they've all got this long,
Mm.
thick hair and stuff. And I did get a vision of one of them, not him, but one of the other ones, but they're still
Mhm.
alive, so it was just
Mhm.
a vision. But that's who she thinks is
Mhm.
haunting her.
Yeah, but it's more like there was something in the attic, there was something in the house, something on the land that was, I'm going to say, very old, not ancient, not one of these entities that's, that has some power to it. It was just like a ball of energy that had been there, that had been collecting in like a tumbleweed through time. And it landed there, and somehow there's multiple things that the husband has nothing to do with this. He's like so matter of fact. So nothing is bothering him and touching him. In fact, not even the fact that she's telling him that this stuff, you know what I mean? It's not like he's in this position of she's in trouble and I don't know how to protect my wife. I'm not getting that from him. I'm getting them, this is just stuff that happens, and, I'm here, I'm going to work.
Right.
Matter of fact kind of guy.
Mhm.
She's spinning. There is real stuff there. And again, the little girl, I'm so glad that she's got that she's left. I worry a little bit about the mom. Maybe the little girl went with her. I don't know. Maybe at that point she could. You guys did a lot of good work there, but that's going to continue. And it could very well be that maybe the daughter's got some abilities, or somebody, or the dad. I mean, it could be the dad, and he's just shuts it off. When you shut that off, it gets more. It's going to find a way out. You can't contain this energy and just let it bang around. It's like pinball just hitting off of all these things, and might get stuck for a little bit, like this thing, whatever's on her left side. It's just people don't realize what they do. Look, you can watch horror movies. I've got gargoyles in my front yard. I mean, it's not, you just got to know what you're doing. It's like people with the Ouija board. We're not saying it's the board. It's what you're doing with it. It's the intent.
I have one on her bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad when people try to, again, put everything in these categories and make it, well, my ghost didn't do that, so you must not have a ghost, because we got to get out of that. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay, so before I forget, what you were talking about earlier about the land, we didn't get to edit that in because there was so much going on, but I did get that in meditation in Kentucky before I went. So there was a line of trees, and I like drew it out like a property line. When they had cleared that place off to build that house back in whatever 1850 or whatever, that's what had came through, partially what you had said. Yeah.
Yep.
So it happened after it somehow it disturbed the ground. Now we don't know, we can't say, we don't have proof that remains or anything like that was dug up, but something disturbed the ground and created some kind of like vortex.
Okay.
So at that point, so whatever caused that vortex, that's exactly what you were talking about there. But I did have that on paper.
And people don't realize that too. This is why when you do a property, before you ever build the house, cleanse the property, make peace with it, go in and understand that you are disturbing ground, grass, trees, birds, nature, bugs, whatever. And you have to become one with it. And you to go back to that native way that, a lot of tribes used to, just be one with nature. We never went in and took the whole doggone herb. We took 1/3 and left 2. If we don't get back to this and understand that person, that cashier you yelled at, that ripple effect, then she's going to go home and she's going to feel worthless. She's going to take it on somebody, or she's going to we are responsible for everything.
Right.
And every thought, every word, every action. So if we could just get that down and maybe cut back half of what we're putting out into the universe and counteract it with a little light, I've seen so much good happen. And this is the level of paranormal you want to get to. This is the part where you want to get to. It's so hard for us to get together, get to a property, have everything work out to where we can work with the people in the household. We can work around all the cats and the dogs and the this and the that and have the time. And I frankly am getting a little tired of hearing people calling people that they don't understand. People are always afraid of what they don't understand.
Right.
And they're always putting down, mediums or people that are going to do these rescues, or they're doing a house cleanse or whatever. This one didn't get it right. This is all the armchair quarterbacks. Let me tell you something. This is the best thing I think that you can do with a lifetime. Your hands can do surgery. They can comfort. They can hold a child. They can help a sick animal. They can nurture, they can hit, they can build, they can destroy. Your choice of what you do with your life, your hands, your heart, and your soul should be something you think about. Instead of thinking about, I'm going to make this amount of money so I can buy that and do this and do that. What are you doing with your soul? Right. Because obviously there is an issue with human beings who, for whatever reason, choose to stay back, are confused, or their energy is just blasted out of their body so quick they don't understand, and they're trying to sort it so they can move on. I've seen people stuck on earth. I've seen them stuck in the halfway, the unseelie fey, or the in between, whatever you want to call it. This is real, folks. This is real. And if you can get to this level to where you understand it's not a competition, this is a team. Even if the three of us came together, there'd be a reason for that, because it's like gears in a machine and they fit well together. If you go in with a group where you're jealous of this guy because he just got the new, woo-hoo that lights up and does this, and this one over here, and this one's got the grid, and he got the best picture last time, and she doesn't know what she's talking about, you already screwed up the investigation.
Yeah.
When you walk in love and light, just to help the living and the dead, you get results like this. And I think it's
collaborate.
Wonderful.
You have collaboration is so important, because just like I'm like, okay, I got information, right? But here's the thing. With my human brain, then I have the task of interpretation. Well, what if I mess up? Because I'm not always perfect.
Right.
So if I mess that up, then I need to be able to collaborate with other people to bounce ideas back and forth. Okay, because it's not like people think. Not for me, anyways. Okay, like I can get information, then all of a sudden, okay, where'd it go?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it is so important. As Cisco was saying, we need each other. We need to start learning to thrive with each other instead of being in competition, and be like, hey, why are we really doing this? What is the purpose in this? It's for the other realms to help them, and for humans to help us in this 3D realm. But there has to be some kind of common denominator here where we can start coming together. And instead of saying, hey, I'm better than this person over here. Well, wait a minute.
Here's me. Here's my toolbox. They might be different than yours, but if we put them all together, we might be able to fix this.
Exactly.
And I think we could do the same thing in the world. And I think that's what the whole thing about the awakening is, and the quickening. I mean, this goes all the way back to Art Bell when he started talking about the quickening and going. I mean, how far back you want to go? I felt the shift in, 11/22/63, which was, another anniversary, of all the dark forces to come in and start, taking out people that they don't agree with, So here's the thing. When we start thinking we're bigger than our britches, we start really messing up. When you start coming down to reality and realizing, my God, we're actually souls that are here to learn. And some of us knew each other on the other side and agreed to this bullshit.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? It's like, are you serious? We're gonna do what?
Oh my gosh. Spirit just told me to say something. I have to say this.
Say it.
Okay, so like when we go to school as children, right? Especially like high school, middle school, they have the cliques, right? Spirit just, when I was saying Earth School and we were talking, Spirit just told me to explain it like that with the investigations.
Mhm.
It's not about being in cliques.
Mhm.
How did cliques make us feel? Spirit was wanting me to ask
Right.
how did
In high
cliques
school,
make
yeah.
us feel? So how do we think that we're going to help if we're being in cliques like that? So in other words, who's better than who? Then how are we supposed to be able to help the other realms? And how is that going to make them feel?
Exactly. Oh, that's
Oh
great. I
my
love that. And
God.
it's so true.
Thank
It's
you,
so true.
Spirit.
And again, to remember the human beings, and it goes further. We were talking earlier, the grass, the trees. Listen, I almost chained myself to an oak tree. They told me they were going to have to move when we put our house in. And it's so funny because the builders, everybody's standing there going, yeah, we're going to have to cut that tree down. And I'm like, no, you're not moving the tree. And I'm leaning against the tree, and my sons are going, well, she's and my son goes, no, you don't understand. She ain't moving.
No.
You might as well just give her she ain't moving. She knows that there's birds in that tree. She's already seen the squirrel's nest up there. You ain't getting that tree down. She'll be, just forget about it. And I just love that my sons knew that about me. It's like, go ahead, try if you want. We're going to go over here and watch, because that's just the thing. You have to understand what's important. And we have been so materialistic and made so many things important. We let whoever you want to say they are just poison our minds with all these things that we think are important. And my God, when it comes down to it, it's us. It's love. It's helping each other. It's opening that door for that person, being kind to the older lady. It's being kind to people in the chat. It's, not being a jerk. Just try not to be such an asshole, people, because that's what they want. Do you want to win this? Smile, laugh, enjoy, skip, dance barefoot. They hate it. And we win because they cannot stand to be around the light. You know how many times we've been in something where I said, all right, we're singing because it just changes the vibration. I stood in the middle of a battlefield where I couldn't get any. It was so chaotic. I had to stop and in my best blues voice sang Amazing Grace until it all calmed down. And I took a picture. I asked permission. I always ask permission. Take a pic. I did 3, click as you turn. And I got a pink fog across the field in the wheat field in Gettysburg. And I had, like you, Stephanie, I had to go home and research and say, okay, what did I just see? What I had never heard about the colors, and then sure, it makes sense. It all clicks together. Colors of orbs, color of eyes, energy in eyes and certain entities and certain cryptids, it's all, it's energy, right? So I'm looking, I'm like, what is the colors mean something? Who writes this book, right? Pink is love and accommodation, love, kindness. I'm like, oh my gosh, Amazing Grace. It was something they all could understand and it calmed. So if music is universal language and love is the answer to beating the darkness, we have the answer here, folks. Follow their lead. Everybody in this chat gets it. I know you do. I love you all so much. Guys, we got to do this often. If we could just schedule this to do this once a month and come in and talk about different things, whatever spirit brings up that we got to put out there, I would love to do that. I know you guys are real. I know you're busy. If I'll work around you. I do Sunday, Monday nights. Just pick one and we'll do it again. And whatever comes up, that's what we'll talk about. But I don't think you're done with that case yet. I mean, maybe with the living, but I'm telling you, there's more to that. And I think now it's okay. They're telling the story. And I think she's going to come when she's can get the mom. I think what's going to happen, and I'm going to predict that because they just showed it to me. She's going to go over there. She's going to get better. And she's going to come back and talk to one of you and tell you a little bit more because there's somebody else got hurt in that. And once she knows the kids are okay and she's getting it, she's going to want to come back and fix that because something you guys, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. We're going to get out of here. I'm seeing more and more of spirit, even earthbound, getting the word, however that happens, that if they come here and help others, it helps them. So a lot of suicide, a lot of people that went out, in a bad way, or did something wrong. coming back to help strangers that might be getting ready to make the same mistake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're seeing a
Yes.
lot of that. That's
Mhm.
really been ramping up. And I think
Yeah.
there's just, this timeline of let's get a lot of these souls over.
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
getting that that's happening. So I think this is going to ramp up more. And I
I
could really
definitely
use the
agree.
guidance, and the chat would love you guys to come in and give your words on that, So,
I
you
would
know,
be so gracious and appreciative.
I would
mean,
love
this is
that.
beautiful.
I'm just going to hand it over to you guys. You just guys give me the next date, because it's easier with two people to come together. You give it to me. I'll have the Sunday, Monday open for that. We'll do it, once a month. And, anybody else you want to bring in that wants to be a guest, you let me know. We'll come in and we'll talk about whatever that is, because I think at this point in time, we're really all learning on the next level. We're
Yeah.
all learning in our own ways. All these great new tools. We're like, oh my gosh, look what I got,
Right.
and I
Right.
think that's going to amplify now even more so. Do y'all feel the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
know what? Also, we need to figure out, because Stephanie and I use StreamYard as well. We need to figure out how to link everything so we can all go live at once.
Absolutely. Well, I've recorded this for you
Yeah.
so I can send it to you. So you guys, I'm trying to learn how to do that with the Rumble, so I can send it to you and you can put it on your channel as well. Okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
if you look, so you must pay for StreamYard. If you look, Michelle, do you have a thing up at the top right-hand corners that says stream this to your audience? Are you on your phone or are you on your computer?
No, I'm on the computer, on the PC.
So above the chat, there's a blue bar that says stream this to your audience.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that that's all we had to do is hit that now.
Okay.
And then I didn't want to try it tonight, but we can try that the next time. Just hit that.
Perfect. Let's do that. I thought about that ahead of time. I wanted you guys have a copy of this. So I tried doing it where it records it for me, and it's not on StreamYard because that one's full. And I think Rumble's doing it for me. And if I can get that to you, I'll get it to you. If not, I'll just download it. We'll do it the old fashioned way, but I want you guys to share it on your channel. This is the Getz Spooky Society channel. I'm showing this one. Michelle has one as well. I think you have like two of them, don't you, sweetie? As well. Guys, lock that. Yeah, don't you have two channels, or is it just the one?
Just I combined everything into
you did finally get it. Okay. So this is that, and the videos on here are the vampire dolls and addicts, that one, and then it's the two-parter here with the vampires portals and the heartwarming. And so don't cheat and watch the last one first. Watch it in order,
right?
Because we want you to get the full thing. But that was just amazing, and I loved it. And I said, finally, I've got one on tape where I can show people like beginning to end how it starts and how it ends, because it really does work like this sometimes, folks. Not every time. Sometimes you got to go back 2 or 3 times. It's like therapy, some we have to work on an awful lot. But man, when you've got them ready like that, it's just amazing. And if you pass over a kid, I love that so much. I love that you guys did that. Thank you so much for spending this evening with me, and the best of holidays to you. You guys are my family. The Thanksgiving, a lot of us aren't with our families, and all that weird stuff is happening and going on. So this is our family. I love that you guys were here to bring in the holidays, but let's not wait till the next holiday to bring you back. Let's do that. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Contact me. So take us out of here. Your channel again, Michelle?
It's Michelle Brandenburg, Tarot, and more.
Tarot more. And she has these wonderful readings on there too. I listened to my Capricorn today. I think I'm in trouble because I got 2 coming up in my life that are going to be snakes. Boy, are they in for it, because I'm ready for them. And Steph, you always have wonderful stuff on there, and you're doing so many wonderful things. And I absolutely love it when people ask me and go, do you know any real witches or real mediums or real psychics like that? And I'm like, honey, the total tonnage of the people that I've met in 50 years that are absolutely A-list, here's 2 of them. Here's 2 of them. And I just love it so much. The light that comes off you guys is just as bright as that beautiful tree behind you, darling. So happy Thanksgiving, Merry of Christmas, and listen, I missed your birthday. Happy birthday on Halloween there for you, hon. So let's not wait too long to get together again. And thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. And
thank you. Throw the bacon at them, guys. Sling that bacon and that love. We love you so much. The chat loves you. Have a wonderful night. I'm going to take us out with a little song.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so much. Been wonderful, darling. Love you guys so much. Big time. Good night. Good night, darling. Good night. Here we go. All right. What do we got? We got a little dancing boogie for you tonight. Let's see. You want a little space boogie? Or how about a little groovy tube? Little groovy tube. Listen, guys, I love you so much. And I just wanted to take this last little bit to explain a little something's going on. So, yes, I got demonetized on YouTube. I have a big mouth and I told the truth. And I got a letter. I didn't get a strike, but they told me that, they're just going to cut me. And I said, that's fine because I don't do it for the money. The money does help keep the StreamYard is doubled. I'm not complaining. I'm not asking. I'm just telling you what's going on. So I said, well, I could stop doing it. That's not going to happen. I could stop telling the truth. Well, that's not going to happen. So I had been wanting to go ahead and open up a Rumble channel as well. And my phone died, so I can't tell if it's still working. Is it still working over there? Okay. And I figured that'll work. Now on Rumble, they do have, I still have my PayPal. Thank you so much, Ted. I do have my TeePublic, and that's great. I love that. I love that you guys are getting t-shirts and stickers, and that helps. I get a little bit from that. And of course they get the most, and they should. I do the designs, not a big deal. They put it all together. I get a couple of bucks from that. I think it's like $2 on a t-shirt. So that helps. YouTube actually took quite a bit of the money. So if you gave me $1, I probably wound up with about 35 cents of it. And that's fine. Everything helps. But Rumble has rants. So look into that. If you don't have Rumble, please look into that. Now, tomorrow night, I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more information on Rumble. Some people are having trouble with the little emojis that are on there. I put on some like cute dancing emojis and things like that, because it makes the chat fun. I can't see them on StreamYard, but I can see them on the Rumble. But it's fun for you guys. I'll put some more up there because, it's just fun to throw those up. There's a couple of other things on Rumble we can use too. There's Rumble rants, anywhere from $1 on up. I think I get a little bit more than that, than YouTube on those. So that's pretty good. Rumble doesn't take as much. And there's also a way I can put some ads. But here's the deal. When I was on YouTube, you can choose where you put your ads. You can choose whether you want skippable ads or non-skippable ads. I only chose to put the skippable on the beginning and the end of my videos, because I figured if somebody was listening to it, I hate it when it breaks up in the middle and it puts ads in the middle of it and you got to stop and skip. And I hate that so much, especially if you're trying to sleep. So in the middle of the week, I try to do like old radio shows or audio stories, or like a Vincent Price telling a ghost story or something like that, because it's fun for us to get in the chat in the middle of the week and see how everybody's doing, to touch base and see how our friends around the world are doing. And I like doing that. And it was so much fun in the YouTube, and I didn't want to lose that. So Rumble is the best thing for that in the chats. So I'm going to give everybody time to move over to Rumble. I'm not going to stop doing YouTube. The only way I'd stop doing YouTube is if they cut me off completely. Yeah, Ghost Lore. That's about right. But then I got to pay tax. It's crazy because I claim everything because I don't want any trouble, because they bring trouble to me, I'm going to have to send trouble back, and it's just going to get ugly. So, because I'm at that point in my life where, my jar of, fucks have been empty for a long time. So I'm trying to move everything over there, because I'd hate to lose all those deep dives into like the Lizzie Borden and Abraham Lincoln and, the Cleveland torso murders and all that deep research and stuff that I've done over all the years. So I'm trying to get it over to Rumble too. So if you see me putting encore shows over on Rumble, don't be dismayed. I'm trying to get another place to hold them, because I don't want to lose everything in case they do get a wild hair and decide to just shut my channels down. Also on Rumble, I can play more music. I can show you more videos. We can do more things. So I think you're going to like it. Now, if you have any problems with it, Kat, you seem to have the Rumble down. You can DM me, contact me either through my email, journeythroughthegate@gmail.com. You can contact Ghost Lore here. You could get her Kat on Facebook. And Ted, do you have Rumble straightened out? Do you pretty much got it on there? 2 accounts on Rumble. It's bonkers. But why do I need 2 accounts? I don't know why you need 2 accounts. You shouldn't need a separate account to follow me. Some people were getting the emojis and some were not. But if you check to see if there's an update, or if you just have the app on your phone, it works pretty good. It also works good on the computer. So it seems to be different. Try a couple things out because I think it's going to be worth it. Because what I'm going to do eventually is there are going to be some shows that are coming up in this probably after the holidays where I'm going to have some guests on where we're going to talk about stuff that YouTube doesn't want us to talk about. And I don't want you to miss those shows. I don't know how to do that without getting completely shut down on YouTube. So I figured what I would do is we'll come in. I will never put anything behind a paywall. I won't do that because I'm not doing it for the money. I think it takes away from the intent. So that's why, and as long as I can afford to keep doing it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to cut back some stuff like StreamYard went up. It doubled. It's $45 a month. It's nuts. There's a couple of other things out there that I could get, but they charge by the year, and I just don't have a big chunk of money to do that right now. I'm looking into some other things as far as streaming. In fact, Rumble has a stream. I'm going to look into that tomorrow. We'll see what that looks like. But we have another month here on StreamYard. No worries. And I don't want to change anything. But I thought what I would do is we'll get the guest on. We'll talk about what we can talk about, and then we'll move over to Rumble or shut it down on YouTube if we have to. How could I get that to you? I don't know. But there's also another channel I can upload to. So what I want to do is take this time and take a month to see if I can get anybody who's interested. It's free. Go over there and sign up for Rumble. If you have any problems, contact me or Kat. And we'll try to get you through it. Okay. And as the questions come in, I think it's a little higher because it just changed. I think it went up to 45 Kat on what YouTube takes. But here's the thing. What they'll do is a lot of my friends, because listen, I know about 15 people who got their YouTube channel demonetized on the same day I did. It was the day after the election. You tell me why. So it's just a guess, but what a coincidence. So what they'll do is they'll demonetize me. Now, I just told you I only chose to have commercials in the beginning and at the end. What they're doing to all my friends is they're telling them they can't be demonetized. They have to be demonetized because it's not it's you're not following the protocol, whatever. And it's not good for advertisers. So the advertisers won't put stuff on your, because you said bad words or you talked about bad people they don't like or said something they don't agree with, whatever it may be. So then they take it, they demonetize you, and a week later, they're putting commercials all through your stuff and they're leaving your videos up. So if you see one of my videos, if you go back and watch an encore video and it has a bunch of commercials in the middle, that's not me, that's them. So what sense does that make? So what are they doing? Right? You think about it. So I'm not going to stop. So that's why I started the Rumble. I'm going to try to make it as user-friendly as possible. I love you all. Thank you for being here. We're going to be on tomorrow night with Steve. I'm looking forward to that. I think we have something really good put together, something a little different. And I think he's going to enjoy it too. So there you go. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Look, it's their business. They can run it the way they want. It's whether or not I want to participate. So I'm trying to find out a way to participate without bending the knee, because I won't do that. I told y'all that a long time ago. I'm here to tell the truth about the paranormal. I will talk about history. I will talk about true crime. I will talk about conspiracy. I really want to do a big deep dive on JFK before I leave this mortal coil. Mortal coil. What sense does that make? Anybody ever think about that? Mortal coil. What does that mean? Ted, what does that mean? We're just all coiled together as one mortal group of energy? What does that mean? Mortal coil. Never really thought about it before. It's weird, right? So I think that's the best way for my viewers and my listeners to have the least amount of shiznit going on. You know, I want you to be able to get to Rumble. I want it to work for you. I think it's fun over there. I think they've worked through a lot of their issues. The biggest issue I see on Rumble is if you are there for the live, it's all about the live. When you're there during the live, it's terrific. You can talk to people in the chat. It's great. You can use the emojis. You can do all the stuff. And you hear people just tell the truth because it's free speech over there, right? The one thing that's not good, and I think they're working on it because it seems to be getting better, is when you watch the replay of a live show, it's like commercials every, 5 minutes. And it's just really irritating. It's very hard to go back and watch a show. So I'm not thrilled with that, but I think that I actually am acquainted with one of the owners where we can get information via him. And they're working on it, There is a PayPal Plus, but, money, they're going to ask you if you want to be a member on my channel. If you want to be a member on my channel, please do. Please, on Rumble, it's follow is free. Subscribe. That's all Rumble. That's not me. So if you want to subscribe to me, I get that money, but it's Rumble setting it up. I don't set the price. I think it's $5 a month. Look, $5 a month is a lot to some people. I don't like having stuff taken out of my thing. But if you want to do that, I promise you the money will go right into YouTube. Right now, I can't promise you anything more for being a member because I don't have anything set up yet to make that a special thing. So just know that now, and I'll let you know if I come up with something. But I can't see putting anything behind a paywall. I don't want to hold back information and go, okay, I don't want to be one of these people who gets, I don't know. I get Abe Lincoln on here and we're, I'm interviewing Abe Lincoln and we get up to the Civil War and I go, hold on a minute, Abe, before we bring up that, let's shut down YouTube and go over to Rumble so we can tell the rest of the story. I really don't want to do that, but I think that's mean. I mean, if we can talk about it on YouTube and it's fine, I'll just leave it. And you can be on Rumble and YouTube and whatever other channel I stream to. But I'm trying to work out the kinks. Bear with me. They just hit me with this. And I had a feeling if I expressed my feelings on that show and did what I did, which I don't have no regret. I don't have any regrets because I'll never shut my mouth up. I put on a uniform to ensure strangers that I would stand up for their rights to free speech and all the other ones. That oath has no expiration date. I believe in free speech. I believe in all the other ones too. I'm a big constitutional person. I believe in your rights as much as I believe in mine. And I don't think anybody should come on here and tell me that something I studied for 50 years and try to fact check me with some nonsense. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm 61 years old. Nobody tells me what I can and can't do. You find me, cut me off, whatever. I'm telling the truth. If you want to come to me and call me a liar, you better prove that I'm lying. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. With facts, not feelings. Facts do not care about your feelings. They don't care about mine. And that's fact. So, I think this is an important subject. I do believe, and I still believe, that a lot of the subjects that I talk about are all intertwined. But here's something else. We lost a good podcaster this week. Very good friend of mine. And he's still here. I mean, he's just stopping podcasting. Why? Because he's been doing one of the best podcasts I've ever heard on the paranormal, and that's Unseen Paranormal. But he's done. He put up a speech the other day, Eric. I love him dearly. And I understand completely what he's saying. He said, I've interviewed all the people I wanted to interview. I've read all the authors I wanted to talk to about their books. I've talked about all the stories and the lore and things that, and he's burnt, and he wants to go and he's got a new property, beautiful property, and work on that the next phase. He said it might be back, but right now he needs a little break. And I don't blame him, because here's what happens. If all you're talking about constantly, Bigfoot, 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 a ghost, a haunted house, a ghost, a Bigfoot, a UFO, a Bigfoot, it gets to you. What I'm doing is I don't even do that. I don't even have people on that you see on every other show, because I heard them and I'm like, well, if I bring that person on, are they going to add anything? You see what I mean? Or are they just going to say the same thing? There are people in this genre that no matter what show they were on, it was the same story every time. And I just don't want to fill in. If I'm going to do something like that, I want to pull up movies and watch them with you. I love that. I love the fact that we pulled up the Bowery Boys Spooks on the Run and got to watch that together and talk about it in the chat. I would love to be able to show you some of these other things and talk to you about. I can do that on Rumble. Okay. We could watch Fallen together on Rumble and talk about it in the chat and talk about the aspects of this movie. What are we learning from this? What's complete bullshit? What's made up? What goes deeper than, my gosh, it would be fantastic. We could pull a night and have a movie night. I'd love to do that, because it's like sitting in the living room with your best friends and you're all watching the same movie together, and then you get to talk about it. It's fantastic. And it's a nice evening and doesn't cost anything, Well, it does, but you don't have to pay $15 and $30 for popcorn and soda, So I want to do fun things like that. I think it's going to be a great, it's going to be a winner. It's going to be, we're going to be going through some stuff, but boy, hang on, because here we go. We're not off the roller coaster yet. Make sure you readjust your seatbelts, okay? And we're going to get through this together, because this is I think it's all, I don't want to say downhill, maybe downhill on our asses, really rocky terrain, maybe in some cases really fast and then long periods of waiting. But here's the thing, it's worth it. We're all here for a reason. I learn from you guys all the time. I hope I've said some things that gave you new ideas, new things to look at, maybe a different way to look at something. Maybe understand a little bit more why history is so important, because if you understand the history of a person or a place, maybe you understand a little bit more what you're dealing with, if there is a ghost there, or if that ghost has anything to do with any of that. There's more to this than just walking in and getting, a word on a thing or a feeling or whatever it may be. There are so many different aspects to the paranormal supernatural that I don't even think we've scratched the surface. And once you realize that there's so many other things that are connected, that yes, there are aliens standing next to good entities and trying to help you save the spirit. And then there's bad ones and aliens and other things that are standing and trying to keep you from it. That's your daily life, folks. That's spiritual warfare. The little yeses, the little no's. And every time you decide to keep your light on instead of shutting it off and giving up, you keep your lights on. And I'll be keeping the lights on for you. I love you so much. Please like and hit the comments, and please join over there on Rumble if you can. Again, if you have any problems with that, please contact me tomorrow, DM me, email me, and I'll try to help you through it as much as I understand it. We'll learn it together. But I think it'd be really interesting to be able to do that, maybe a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night, and we watch, maybe we can watch a ghost movie that we all like, or, and talk about it. And I think that would be wonderful. But again, if you see commercials on my stuff on YouTube, I'm not getting that money. It's them. And it's just another thing where you think, okay, it wasn't good enough for, I worked on the video for 9 hours. I put it together. I put it out there, whatever it was. I researched it. I did all that stuff, but you're going to, okay, it's fine. Because I'm here to talk to you. And I'm glad you're here to be here with me. And I hope that I've brought you some smiles. Stephanie and Michelle are top notch. I absolutely love them. I think their channels are wonderful. All of their stuff is out there. Please go and hook up to their YouTube channels, because you're going to learn so much with them. And plus, you know, you get all these wonderful, they do a thing where they do some free readings. It might be animal readings or whatever. They take the first 3. They try to do something every month. They're so giving, and they're trying to give back. And it's just, it's just wonderful. That's where we should all be, helping each other. We're all just humans, just flubbing through this mess, banging into each other and trying not to screw up. You know, it's pretty much it. Try to do the best we can. And it's not a problem, Ted. I'll try to help you through it, babe. It's just, I got to see what the snag is, and then I'll try to get you through. Okay? I love y'all. Let's have a little music on the way out, a little bit of Groove It Too. And dance it off. Just dance it off. We're going to be just fine. Look at us now. You know, where were we like 4 years ago? Look at us. I told you you'd make it. I'm so glad you did. Thanks for being here. Hit the like on the way out. See you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Bye, everybody.